There will now be time for silent prayer or meditation. Thank you. You may take your seats. Honorable delegates, before we proceed with the sitting, may I take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy President, the Premiers, particularly the Premier of Gauteng and as well as the Premier of Limpopo, the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker and Chief Whip from Limpopo Provincial Legislature, the Chief Whip of Northwest Provincial Legislature, as well as the Deputy Chief Whip of the Eastern Cape Provincial Legislature, who have joined us on a visual platform. We do have the MECs as well who have joined in, and all special delegates and SALGA representatives to the House. I am reliably told that we've got visitors on the gallery. We do have the family of Honorable Nonkonyana, the daughter. Unfortunately, I was not given her name. What's her name? I see her. She's seated right there. What's her name? Londi. Hello, Nana. As well as we have the family of Honorable Skier Kochel. They are also in the gallery. If I may request them to stand up, is that your partner? Is that your, hello? Can we give them the round of applause? And thank you very much for joining in today and be part of this session. You are welcome. Please feel free, enjoy yourself. These are the members that you have requested to come and represent you in this house. I've been informed that there will be no notices of motion or motions without notice. Therefore, Honorable Delegate, we shall now proceed to the annual address by the Deputy President and the debate thereon with the theme, Restoring the Dignity of Our People through Spatial Planning and the Provision of Human Settlements, Water and Sanitation. I now call upon Honorable Deputy President, Honorable Mashatile, to start with his annual address and address the House. Over to you, Honorable Deputy President.
Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Refilwe Mutsweni-Ntsipane, Deputy Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Pubelan Govender, Honorable Chief Whip of the National Council of Provinces, Honorable Kenneth Moima, Premiers of Provinces, some will be speaking today, Premier of Gauteng, Banyaza Lusufi, Premier of Limpopo, Dr. Poppy Ramutuba, permanent and delegates from provinces, the leadership of SALGA here present, Deputy President, Councillor Pagati, all honorable members of this House. Honorable members, it is both an honor and privilege to stand before you once more in this august House for the last time in 2025. As we approach the end of the year, it is clear that it was a highly productive and transformative period for both the executive and Parliament the legislative arm of the state. Together, we have successfully advanced the legislative agenda and fortified the foundations of governance, reaffirming our collective commitment to the people who elected us to serve them. As the executive arm of the state, we have achieved significant milestones in our task of promoting trade and investments. This is evidenced in the following successful working visits that we undertook this year. South Africa-France Investment Conference in Paris in May of this year. Participation in the St. Petersburg International Economic Forum's plenary session during a working visit to the Russian Federation in June of this year. South Africa-China Trade and Investment Package for 2025 to 2029 during our working visit to China in July of this year. And lastly, the inaugural South Africa Turkey BNC in October of this year. Honorable members, these visits focused on enhancing the economic and trade relations between South Africa and the international community. Through strategic engagement, partnerships have been cultivated to promote investment, job creation, and innovation. South Africa has also established itself as a strong advocate for multilateralism and as a key proponent for a global agenda that addresses the needs of the Global South and existing geopolitical challenges. South Africa hosted the G20 Leaders Summit in November this year and was the first country in the African continent to hold the G20 presidency. And this since its inception. Throughout our presidency under the theme Solidarity, Equality and Sustainability, we elevated the discussion on multilateralism by basing it on the importance of inclusion and equity in global discourse. This event marked a significant achievement for both South Africa and the continent, showcasing Africa's readiness to engage in global discussions and inclusive growth, sustainable development, and equitable partnerships. As part of the G20 engagement, Parliament held the 11th P20 Speakers Summit. The P20's recommendations are closely aligned with South Africa's G20 presidency priorities. For instance, the G20 Leaders Declaration emphasized support for low and middle income countries dealing with debt vulnerabilities, endorsed the G20 Ministerial Declaration on Debt Sustainability, and reiterated the commitment to enhancing the G20 Common Framework for Debt Treatments. The declaration also emphasized the necessity for enhanced disaster resilience and response, notably urging universal early warning systems, which is a key deliverable for the South African presidency. G20 leaders committed to tripling global renewable energy capacity and increasing climate finance to developing nations. Moreover, the declaration addressed gender equality, inclusive growth, and youth involvement in governance, echoing the P20's emphasis on transparency and empowerment. In summary, the P20 declaration prioritized the concerns of parliamentarians from the Global South, including debt reform and disaster resilience, and ensured their integration into the G20's leaders' discussion and final declaration, notwithstanding limitations due to consensus constraints on specific reforms. Honorable members, here at home, 2025 saw the beginning of the national dialogue process, whereby the first national convention was convened in August 2025, reaffirming our commitment to inclusive governance and social cohesion. This historic event brought together government, civil society, and communities to address the important topics such as social unity and economic transformation. Honorable Chairperson, another defining milestone that tested and ultimately strengthened our unity as representatives of the people was the successful adoption of the 2025 national budget under the Government of National Unity. This achievement exemplified our determination to prioritize the nation, advancing crucial legislation aimed at fostering inclusive economic growth, creating jobs, and alleviating poverty and cost of living. It underscored the effectiveness of collective efforts in addressing significant challenges and enacting meaningful change for all South Africans. However, Honorable Chairperson, it is far too early to sound the drums of victory. Millions of our people still wake up to the harsh realities, including of poverty, unemployment, the rising cost of living, corruption and gender-based violence and femicide. These are lived experiences that demand our urgent and steadfast intervention, particularly as we observe the 16 days of activism for no violence against women and children, as well as against persons with disabilities. Let us remember all the vulnerable women and children whose lives have been lost at the hands of men who continue to perpetrate abuse. Together, let us fight the scourge of GBVF and call on all men to be guidance of their families, homes, children, and communities. On the 1st of December 2025, I led the official commemoration of World AIDS Day in Hamasemula, Sekhukhune district in the Limpopo province, under the theme Renewed Efforts and Sustainable Commitment to End AIDS. Through this theme, we call for the reinvigoration of strategies to close gaps in prevention and treatment and emphasize long-term investments in the light of funding cuts and shift in global priorities affecting investments in HIV. Honorable Chairperson, let me acknowledge the unique role of the NCOP as the voice of provinces and local government. This year's annual address theme is Restoring the Dignity of Our People through Spatial Planning, Provision and Human Settlement, Water and Sanitation. This is not merely about infrastructure. It is about honoring the fundamental human rights to safe, secure, and healthy living environments, a right enshrined in our Constitution and anticipated in the Freedom Charter's call for houses, security, and comfort. We must address the current realities of rapid urbanization, climate change shocks, infrastructure decay, and spatial injustice that continue to deny dignity to millions of South Africans, particularly those living in townships and rural areas. The legacy of apartheid continues its horrible stranglehold on the majority of South African population. Many of the people still live in the sprawling, fragmented cities and towns. This is why we are responding to apartheid spatial planning through the introduction of the Spatial Planning and Land Use Management Act, SPLUMA, among other measures, which requires rigorous applications to foster inclusive growth. However, its implementation remains a challenge. In this regard, we are shifting investments to create well-located service sites near economic opportunities, reducing travel costs and time for citizens. We are also working with provinces and municipalities to fast-track the release of strategically located public land for mixed-income human settlements. We are continuously addressing the housing crisis due to the persistent housing backlog exacerbated by blocked or incomplete projects and the rapid growth of informal settlements. In this regard, Deputy Minister of Human Settlement, Honorable Mambe Hlala, together with Western Cape MEC for Infrastructure, Honorable Simas, handed over the Serfontein housing projects on the 5th of September this year in the Garden Route district of the Western Cape. Upon completion, this project will deliver approximately 15,000 homes to qualifying beneficiaries. We are actively implementing the new white paper on human settlements, which prioritizes in situ upgrades for informal settlements. This approach minimizes displacement and maintains community social cohesion, providing dignity where people live. Honorable Chairperson, equitable access to water and sanitation must be recognized as a human right too. Water is life, and the failure of our municipal water and sanitation systems poses the most immediate threat to human health and dignity. As a result, we are committed to securing water and sanitation for everyone. We are addressing the critical water insecurity crisis caused by aging infrastructure, poor maintenance, high non-revenue water losses of sometimes up to 50% in some areas, and the devastating impact of climate change, which cause droughts and floods. To address these challenges, we are accelerating investments in the refurbishment and expansion of bulk water and wastewater infrastructure, guided by the Water Resource Infrastructure Agency Act. We are also acknowledging the need for competent water management. In this regard, we are committed to training and deploying an additional 15,000 skilled water professionals by 2030 to enhance municipal technical capacity and governance. Additionally, the Minister of Water and Sanitation, Honorable Majodina, has recently introduced the Water Services Amendment Bill to strengthen the regulation and management of water services in South Africa. This bill proposes reforms to improve accountability, enforce competency, and address issues like non-separation of water services authority and provider functions by municipalities. Honorable Chairperson, we are strengthening local government through cooperative governance. Municipalities are the closest sphere of government to the people, and when municipal governance fails, dignity erodes. As a steward of provinces, the NCOP is central to strengthening the local government sphere. In this regard, we are empowering municipalities and improving service delivery. Many municipalities face acute governance instability, financial distress, and capacity deficits, leading to service delivery failures. To address these challenges, government continues to implement targeted support and intervention mechanisms for distressed municipalities. Through the district development model, we are strengthening the whole of government approach in resolving service delivery challenges. The DDM remains the core operational platform to streamline planning and resource allocation across all three spheres of government, ensuring national resources address local needs effectively. Honorable members will remember that it was in this House in August last year when we first announced the Clean Cities and Towns campaign during the National Council of Provinces 3-year planning session. Consequently, it was reaffirmed in February 2025 at the SALGA National Executive Committee Lekgotla, where it was positioned as a national initiative to revitalize cities and towns and improve service delivery. In this regard, on the 6th of June this year, together with SALGA, we launched the campaign in Kliptown in the city of Johannesburg. The campaign involved phases of planning, mass mobilization for cleanups, and long-term sustainable change. This campaign will form part of our broader service delivery by the government within the context of the district development model. Honorable Chairperson, we are also investing in strengthening public-private partnerships. We are actively encouraging and enabling the use of triple Ps, particularly in water and electricity infrastructure, to bring in private sector efficiency and capital. We believe that such investment will ease the financial strain on the fiscus and improve service reliability. At the heart of our work is strengthening accountability. Through the Local Government Week, we know that the NCOP conducts oversight by scrutinizing service delivery initiatives, finances, and performance of municipalities and holding municipalities accountable. Honorable Chairperson, the responsibility of restoring dignity lies not just with the executive, but with every sphere of government, every delegate in this House, and every community member. It requires an ethic of service, zero tolerance to corruption, and a shared commitment to the ideals of our constitutions. Collectively, we must commit to building a South Africa where every citizen can live where they choose in a secure and healthy environment that restores the dignity of our people. I'm confident that as we strengthen efficiency at the coalface and accountability through platforms like the NCOP, a future where dignity is restored through improved housing, water, and sanitation is possible. Honorable Chairperson, I would like to conclude by wishing all the members of the House a happy and safe festive season. After this session, let us go home, rest, recharge, and meet again in good health in 2026. I thank you. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Swinene, Deputy President. We are now proceeding to our next speaker on the debate. The next speaker is Honorable Khatebe.
Honorable Chairperson of the Council, Honorable Deputy President, Honorable members of the NCOP, fellow South Africans, Dumelang, Sanbonani, Goeiemiddag, good afternoon. It is a profound honor to address this August House on the matter that stands at the very heart of our democratic project. Restoring the dignity of our people through spatial planning, the provision of human settlements, water and sanitation. Today, as members of the ANC and custodians of our constitutional democracy, we reflect not only how far we have come, but also the urgent tasks that lie ahead before us as we continue to build a South Africa that belongs to all who live in it, black and white. Honorable Chairperson, 70 years ago, in 1955, the people of South Africa gathered in Kliptown to declare a vision for a free, just, and equitable society. The Freedom Charter was not merely a political document. It was a moral covenant that affirmed that the people shall govern, there shall be houses, security, and comfort, and that all shall enjoy equal human rights. The Freedom Charter the ANC adopted the Freedom Charter as the lodestar of the liberation movement. And today it continues to guide the policy direction of our democratic state. The values of the Freedom Charter found expression in the 1996 Constitution, which boldly proclaims that our commitment to human dignity, equality, and the advancement of human rights and freedom. For the ANC, these values are not constitutional clauses. They are a constant reminder of the responsibility entrusted to us by the people to advance transformation, eradicate inequality, ensure that every South African, regardless of race, gender, or social location, can live in dignity. This is why, as we debate water, sanitation, and human settlements and local government, we must continually remind ourselves that the service delivery is not a technical exercise. It is a moral obligation. It is about restoring dignity. It is about giving effect to the Freedom Charter. It is about building a South Africa that heals the inequalities created by colonialism and apartheid and provide every citizen with a fair chance to thrive. As we approach 32 years of democracy, it is essential and indeed necessary that we reflect on the journey we have taken in transforming the living conditions of our people. In 1994, the majority of Black South Africans had no access to safe water. Water infrastructure had been systematically designed to exclude and disempower. Since then, the democratic administrations led by the ANC have made unprecedented strides. Millions of households now have access to pipe water. Rural water schemes have been expanded, and new dams, reservoirs, and water treatment plants have been built. Programs such as the War on Leaks and the National Water and Sanitation Master Plan have strengthened water conservation and infrastructure management. While we acknowledge the persistent challenges, including aging infrastructure, climate change pressures, municipal capacity constraints, and rising demand, we must recognize the enormous strides we have made in restoring the dignity through the access to safe water. In housing and human settlements, the ANC government has delivered one of the most extensive pro-poor housing programs in the world. Over 4.7 million housing opportunities of various forms have been provided since 1994. This includes subsidized housing for low-income families, service stands, social housing, upgraded informal settlement, public renting housing, and the strengthening of integrated mixed-use communities. These efforts have given millions of families a sense of security, dignity, and ownership. They have transformed apartheid dormitory townships and created new communities where economic opportunity and social services are more accessible. Yet, as we acknowledge this progress, we must confront the remaining challenges: spatial inequality, informal settlement growth, land availability constraints, and the slow pace of issuing title deeds. These issues remind us that transformation is a continuous journey, not an event. Honorable Chairperson, during the recent local government week, this House engaged robustly with municipalities, provincial governments, SALCA, traditional leaders, and key national departments. The insight gained revealed that while progress has been made, the lived realities of many communities reflect persistent disparities in service delivery. Local government week reinforced several key truths. The first one, access to water, sanitation, housing, and basic services remains uneven. Communities in rural and historical disadvantaged areas still bear the brunt of historical neglect. Secondly, that functional municipalities are essential for the realization of social and economic rights. Where municipalities are stable, well-managed, and adequately supported, communities thrive. Where they are dysfunctional, communities suffer indignity. Third, the legacies of colonialism, segregation, and apartheid, which we refer to as colonialism of the spatial type, continue to shape our social and economic landscape. The ANC therefore recommits itself to eradicating these legacies through accelerated transformation, equitable resource allocation, and a renewed focus on inclusive development. Fourth, that the oversight is not a punitive exercise, but a developmental tool. Through the NCOP, we must strengthen oversight to ensure municipalities can deliver their constitutional obligations. Local government has made it clear that dignity and equity are not abstract ideals. They are daily needs of our people. One of the strongest messages from the communities, traditional leaders, and municipal officials is the need for truly people-driven, people-centered planning processes. For too long, planning in the municipality has been driven by consultants, top-down processes, and institutional silos. If we are serious about advancing social transformation, we must institutional planning approaches that reflect the genuine needs and aspirations of our local communities, recognize and incorporate the role of traditional leadership in rural governance and land administration, strengthen ward committees, community structures, and participatory mechanisms, integrate spatial planning, infrastructure development, and economic strategies. Community consistently emphasize the need for inclusive consultation and recognition of the indigenous knowledge systems. Traditional leaders remind us that they are not simply ceremonial figures. They are the custodians of culture, land, and governance in many areas. Their role must be integrated in municipal planning in a manner that respects our constitution and strengthens our development. Planning that ignores community is doomed to fail, but planning that includes them becomes a catalyst for empowerment and sustainable transformation. Honorable Chairperson, local government is the cold face of service delivery. It is in municipalities where water must flow, where waste must be collected, where settlements must be planned, and where communities must experience the presence of a caring state. The ANC is acutely aware that many municipalities face capacity constraints, financial challenges, skill shortages, governance weaknesses. Our task is not to point figures, but to support and strengthen. That is why the local government week was never a fault-finding mission, but a fact-finding mission so that the municipalities can be adequately supported. To advance transformation, we must monitor municipal performance, ensure compliance with legislation, promote accountability, oversight must be proactive, constructive, and solutions-driven. Municipalities need engineers, planners, financial experts, artisans, and administrative professionals. We must invest, one, in training programs, technical support, skills transfer, and the partnership with the academic and professional institution. A municipality that cannot manage its finances cannot manage development. We must strengthen internal controls, audit action plans, revenue management, grant utilization, and anti-corruption measures. Through oversight and support interventions, we must ensure that every rand is used to improve the quality of life of our people. One of the clearest lessons from the local government week and communities experience is that fragmented service delivery undermines progress. Water, sanitation, housing, roads, electrification, and economic development cannot be planned and implemented in silos. We therefore call for strengthened coordination between the Department of Water and Sanitation, the Department of Human Settlements, and COGNA. This coordination must include integrated planning frameworks, joint budgeting processes, streamlined reporting mechanism, shared technical capacity, and collaborative monitoring systems. When water connections are provided without housing plans, communities suffer. When housing projects are completed without adequate water and sanitation infrastructure, dignity is compromised. Integrated development is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Our people do not experience government as departments or spheres. They experience government as one state. Therefore, our service delivery must be integrated, coherent, and responsive. Honorable Chairperson and members, as we reflect on 31 years of freedom, we must remember that the liberation struggle did not end in 1994. It simply entered a new phase, the phase of reconstruction, development, transformation, and nation building. The Freedom Charter continues to guide this phase. It reminds us of the society we are building, a society where dignity is not a privilege, but a birthright, a society where water, sanitation, and housing are not commodities, but constitutional rights, a society where local government is capable, accountable, and people-centered, a society where legacies of apartheid are not reproduced, but eradicated, a society where communities participate effectively in shaping their own development. The ANC affirms its unwavering commitment to these ideals. We recommit ourselves to advancing social transformation, strengthening local government, ensuring equitable access to essential services. The work ahead is immense, but so is our resolve. It is also immense. Guided by the Freedom Charter, grounded in the Constitution, driven by our commitment to a better life for all, we will continue to build a South Africa in which every person can live in dignity. Let us move forward, united in purpose, courageous in action, faithful to the vision that the people of South Africa declared in Kliptown 70 years ago. Long live the spirit and the letter of the Freedom Charter. I thank you. Ke a leboga. Ba dankie.
Order, honorable delegates. Thank you very much, Honorable Khatebe. Honorable delegates in the gallery, we are once again graced by the presence of the daughter and friend of Honorable Ndlovu. Her name is Umpile Fortunate Ndlovu, as well as Kabelano Sibube. We also have the daughter of Honorable Molokumme Letabo. Can we request them to stand so that we appreciate them and give them a round of applause? Thank you very much. We shall now proceed to our next speaker, Honorable Skier Kocha.
Thanks, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President, Honorable members, and fellow South Africans. Chairperson, our Constitution's preamble read as follows. We, the people of South Africa, recognize the injustices of our past, honor those who suffered for justice and freedom in our land, respect those who have worked and built and developed our country, and believe that South Africa belongs to all who live in it, united in our diversity. Chairperson, let's look at the second line. Recognize the injustices of our past and acknowledge where we have come from. We cannot, as honest and open South Africans, ignore that our past is rooted in pain, rooted in division, and that division was manifested in the likes of spatial planning set out to separate provision of human settlements, access to water and sanitation that focus on securing just a few. Chairperson, in writing this address, I found myself asking the question, who am I in this South Africa? I say, ek is 'n Afrikaner en slegs in Mzansi wat ons Afrikaans praat. Translated, I am an Afrikaner and only in Mzansi we speak Afrikaans. Afrikaner in English, for me it means I'm African. Want Suid-Afrika is die enigste plek wat ek huis noem. I say I'm South African, but what does it mean to me? Today's debate topic touches the heart of our history. We as South Africans share in the collective responsibility towards our people. Ubuntu teaches us that our humanity is bound in the humanity of others, that we are people through other people. When those around us lack access to clean water, we must feel that it is our brothers and our sisters who lack access to clean water. When those around live us without proper sanitation, when we are confined to spaces that deny our dignity, we are all diminished. In order for us to move forward, we must remember where South Africa came from. Unfortunately, we must remember the pain of divisiveness through infrastructure policies and plans that disempowered millions of South Africans. When we look at creating an inclusive human settlement policy, it cannot be separated from the immediate and a related context, in particular of urban form of densification and economic opportunities. I believe in a future in which we have overcome the spatial legacy of apartheid, where we live closer to work opportunities, where South Africans regard their property as fruits of their own labor rather than a gift from the state. When amenities such as schools and clinics are readily accessible and where communities are characterized by a mix of income and housing types. The planned densification of urban areas should be an aspect of all human settlement developments, and public transport must be orientated towards servicing these areas. Chairperson, I wanted us to be reminded that when we stand here, it is not a place to divide us, but to unite us. South Africa is counting on us. The housing backlog excess is 2.3 million units. About 13.6 million people live in inadequate dwellings, and our informal settlements are home to more than 2 million households. Only 46% of toilets are inside homes, and nearly 1/5 of households must share a sanitation facility. People still fetch water from rivers and stand in long queues. 1/3 of households rely on subsidized housing. These conditions strip people of their dignity. To restore dignity, we must go back to basics. One, build an ethical and capable state. We cannot talk about housing when municipal pipes leak and treatment plants fail. Two, unlock the housing pipeline and issue title deeds. Each deed provides security and an asset. Third, bring opportunities to people, not people to opportunities. Building more houses on the periphery will not undo the dormitory township model. Through better spatial planning and less red tape, we should encourage investors to create mixed-use neighborhoods and service centers in marginalized areas. Public-private partnerships are essential. Fourth, invest in basic services. When nearly 1/5 of our household share toilets, dignity is compromised. Municipalities must ring-fence funds to maintain water and sanitation infrastructure. Deputy President, you admitted yourself in this House that public-private partnerships are the key to unlocking development. Government cannot do it alone. To ensure that development is sustainable and delivers what it is intended to do, we need strong and stringent consequent management for underperformance and corruption to ensure that delivery is guaranteed. This will be aided when government enables legislation, reduces red tape, and promotes development. Imagine a future where all South African children open a tap, drink clean water. A grandma flushes her own toilet. A young entrepreneur works from a nearby hub. That is my dream, our dream. It's a dream of South Africa where dignity is not built on a slogan, but a lived reality. Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of Ghana, said, "We neither face east nor west. We face forward. Our children do not care about party colors. They care about whether our taps run and they can flush toilets." In closing, Chairperson, honorable members, let us not leave this place. Let's leave this place united in purpose. Let us commit to spatial justice, adequate housing, to water and sanitation for all. Let us restore dignity to our people, not through rhetoric, but through collaborative action. Because when we lift up the most vulnerable amongst us, we lift up a nation. I thank you. Keleboa.
Can we give the doctor a round of applause? Thank you so much, Honorable Skier Kocher. We are now proceeding to Honorable Montwedi.
Thank you very much, House Chairperson, for the opportunity to make contribution on behalf of my organization, the Economic Freedom Fighters, in this year's Deputy President Annual Debate in the Council. Allow me to first start with congratulating the EFF on a successful march held on the 28th of November this year to demand the release of the Phala judgment. Thousands of fighters and ground forces led by the President and Commander-in-Chief came out peacefully to express their discontent with the Constitutional Court within the means permitted by our Constitution. We wanted the report, and the Constitutional Court must not give anyone, including President Cyril Ramaphosa, an impression that some amongst us are above the law. House Chairperson, ke mosimane wa mo tshweneng ko hatseng ja batlhaping la ga Kgosi Mankuruane mme ke rutile gore letlhako le le swa la gelelwa mo go le legologolo. While the Deputy President may have failed and has not seen a need to give his proper context before I respond to the theme of this year's debate, allow me once more to start here. There is nothing productive, Deputy President, about this year. There is nothing productive about all your walking visits. The living conditions of our people are deteriorating every year. Unemployment is sitting at 42.4%. More than 8 million people are unemployed, and another 3.4 million are discouraged, hopeless, and has lost faith of ever finding a job. All these people are available, willing and able to work today, not tomorrow, today, but they are economically excluded. They are unable to feed their families, look after themselves, and have to depend or rely on handouts. Just last week, Stats SA released the third quarter GDP figure, and once more, the economy grew by less than 1%. This remains in the last 3 quarters. The economy grew by less than 1%. The growth was 0.1, 0.9, and now 0.5 in the last quarter. We start here, as the theme of this year's debate suggests, restoring the dignity of our people through spatial planning, provision of human settlements, water and sanitation, because we want to demonstrate there is no seriousness or willingness about what government is doing. Deputy President, what is sad and cruel about the whole situation, the millions of the people excluded from active participations knows that they remain in spaceless informal settlement in Tembisa, Nyangalanga, Alexander Enfuleni, Delft, Inanda, Umlazi, Marikana, and other informal settlement, not because government is not capable. We just delivered the G20 and they saw that government is capable. They know that we can give them water and sanitation because we were able to host world leaders in Johannesburg, and on those 3 days, everything that had not worked in decades all of a sudden worked. They know that this government can but chooses not to do anything about their hardship and poverty. House Chairperson, I will briefly deal with key issues in my debate. I will talk to land, human settlement, water, and sanitation, like the theme of today suggests. Deputy President, let me start where I ended last time when you were before the House responding to questions on the 17th of November. As the EFF, we believe that land ownership pattern must reflect the demographics of the Republic of South Africa, not the Union of South Africa in 1910. And we must blame the failure of this ANC government. We must return the land to the rightful owners. This is the only way we will restore the dignity of our people, not the current misguided approach of settling claims crippled by corruption and greed. For the current financial year, the Department of Rural Development and Land Reform has been allocated 2.7 billion to settle old order claims, and with the remaining 5,719 hectares of old order claims remaining, an estimated 65 billion is required to settle all those claims. And at just under 3 billion per year, we are likely to settle them in the next 30 years. As for the new order claims, about 163,000 claims were submitted with an estimated settlement value of just over 172 billion. And we have not processed pending the finalization of the old order claim. We agree with Honorable Skier Kochel that South Africa belongs to all who live in it. But equally, the wealth of the country must be shared equally by the residents of South Africa. That is what we are saying as the EFF. And Honorable Khadebe, it is so untrue that we speak of the Freedom Charter because this is the same ANC that has sold out on the Freedom Charter. The demands that our people made in 1955 have not been delivered thus far. Another category of claims is that we still have many of our people that couldn't submit their claims during the first and the second order claim, who are still looking for an opening of land claims, and will we ever have an opportunity to open land claims for those that have not claimed before? Honorable members, we must ask ourselves if the Communal Property Associations Act, or the CPA, is the best model for communal land ownership. With many challenges we see in government and instability issues in many of the CPAs, the fact is that most claimants who were dispossessed the land passed away without having gotten their stolen land, and the beneficiaries of those that passed away do not understand the importance of this process. Hence, greed has destroyed many CPAs whose land has been restored, and with others having opted for financial compensation. With these many challenges mentioned above, the only solution for the Parliament is to relook at the expropriation of land without compensation bill, as government will never address the issue of the stolen land, at least in the next 100 years. House Chairperson, everyone has a right to adequate housing, and the very important right to water and sanitation. This is in our Bill of Rights. So important that founding fathers of our democracy felt the need to put such as a right that cannot be easily undermined. House Chair, let me now turn to the question of the human settlement, because this is where the dignity of our people is most visibly eroded. Section 26 of the Constitution is clear. Everyone has the right to adequate housing, and the state must take reasonable measures to realize this right. Yet in reality, we are now more than a decade behind on the housing backlog, with endless promises and zero meaningful deliveries. Your president, Ntate Mashatil, went and promised the people of your area there in Alexander 1 million houses. Today, the people of Alexander have not realized the 1 million houses that your president has promised the people of Alexander. The deputy president speak about Spluma. The Spluma was signed in 2013, but we see now there's no tangible results into the implementation of the Spluma, with the traditional leadership excluded in this development that we're talking about. Honorable members, the committee must not proceed because the Department of Honorable members, we visited the province of the Northwest. When the NCOP conducted oversight in the Northwest, the situation on the ground was shocking. We went to Tsunyani village and Namahikeng, which was just a scheduled follow-up visit. Honorable members, the committee could not even proceed to that project because the Department of Human Settlement had done absolutely nothing since the last visit a year ago. The same dilapidated structures, the same abandoned projects, the same empty commitment. There is no government that has normalized failure. This is a government that has normalized failure. We were further told that 80% of human settlement budget is now being directed towards unblocking previously funded projects. While we welcome this principle, it exposes far deeper crises. Projects that should have been completed long ago are now swallowing new budgets with no accountability. There's no project management, no consequence management, and no assurance that the same projects will not collapse again. House Chair, in the Western Cape, we witnessed a similar pattern, the so-called district development model that the Deputy President told us about here. It is collapsing. House Chair, the Western Cape, we witnessed a similar challenge. National and provincial and local government structures are operating in silos, and the results are plain to see. In communities across the province, housing developments have stalled or collapsed entirely. Millions of rents are now spent on private security because extortionists have taken over construction sites. If the state took this district development model, it would have deployed soldiers to stabilize these areas instead of watching projects collapse while money flows out unchecked. Turning now on to water and sanitation. The Bill of Rights guarantees access to clean water, yet the Human Rights Commission continues to find government failing year after year. Communities in areas such as Pudumon Townships in Taung, Upper and Lower Majakoro, Mukasa 2 Village and Mukasa 1, Lokhabeng, go for months without water. Pamperstat in the Northern Cape have lived with this water crisis for years. Sewerage flows freely in the streets of Hood in Vryburg, Stilfontein, Kuma, Jobertin, in Kabani, in Mahikeng and Matosana, exposing communities to diseases and indignity. House Chair, the local government is collapsing, and without confronting corruption and mismanagement in municipalities, restoring the dignity of our people will remain an empty slogan. House Chair, all these failures point to one reality. Local government is collapsing, and it is collapsing in full view of national and provincial government. These service delivery failures are not accidental. They are a direct outcome of municipalities that are underfunded, poorly managed, captured in corruption by these ANC politicians. Municipalities such as those in Dr. Ruth Mompati, in Mahikeng, in Rustenburg, in JB Marks, in Lekwateman and Kagisano Molopo are expected to deliver water, sanitation and housing, yet they operate without engineers, without project managers, and in the same cases, without basic financial control. The national government cannot continue pretending that municipalities will somehow self-correct when all evidence shows that they are decaying faster each year. What is wise, Deputy President, is that the department responsible for human settlement and water do not intervene early. They wait until communities are protesting, until people are drinking unsafe water, and until projects have collapsed before they appear with empty apologies. But then millions have already been wasted and no one is held accountable. Now, the Deputy President mentioned in his address that they are approaching the PPP, where this PPP, there's nothing genuine about it. It's a process of privatizing our national assets under the guise of the PPP, because this ANC government had an opportunity to deliver these services. They have failed. Now they are resorting, because there's no capacity in the ANC government to render basic services to our people. They are now coming under the guise of auctioning our state-owned entities under the guise of PPP. Now, finally, House Chairperson, if we are serious about the restoring the dignity, we must confront corruption that has hollowed out local government without engineers, without proper planning, without financial discipline, and without consequence management. No amount of budgeting will fix this crisis. If corruption and mismanagement in municipality persist, then restoring the dignity of our people becomes a slogan that the Deputy President will each and every year come to sing in this house, not a program of government that will see the realization of the delivery of services to our people. Kama Kalo Modula Stilo, Mo on behalf of the EFF, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mundwedi. We are now proceeding to the Premier of the province of Gauteng, who has joined in through the virtual platform. Honorable Premier, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much, Chair. Truly appreciate the moment and the opportunity. Let me also extend my sincerest greetings to the Deputy President of our country, Ntate Paul Mashatile, fellow members of the House. Madam Speaker, restoring the dignity of our people through spatial planning and provision of human settlement is a key task with which the Gauteng provincial government is seized with, and we're extending this to ensure that the constitutional mandate that is granted to us to bring order and sanity to our people is executed as soon as possible. We work through the Department of Human Settlement and the strategic key flagship programs that have unpacked for the 2025-2026 financial year. High on the agenda is the land acquisition and rapid land release program that is meant to ensure that those that can afford to build houses on their own, the Gauteng provincial government can only provide land, filled or serviced with water, sewer, and electricity, so that we don't confine our people to one-dimensional approach of RTP houses. This, we really believe, will bring a meaningful change to those that can qualify for bonds and also can qualify for RTP houses. It's a huge investment in land that we've identified that is either owned by local government or provincial government or national government that we've earmarked for this purpose. The second major area of intervention is what we call beneficiary management, to ensure that those that must benefit out of this process, they are the right and appropriate people. We've converted that we will need to take biometric fingerprint recognition processes to allocate and manage beneficiary management or release of housing. This to us is crucial because the right house must go to the right beneficiary at the right time and the right moment. Our people have been clear that they are tired that those that qualify are sidelined and those don't qualify maneuver and manipulate the process. So this beneficiary management system will be in a position to assist us so that we eliminate fraud and unintended beneficiaries who don't qualify to benefit out of this good gesture of our government. The third area is our financial interventions to ensure that we allocate resources and we manage these resources and projects are concluded within the timelines and there are no overruns or people requesting diversions on the basis that they could not conclude the task. We've put strict mechanisms and systems to manage budget. We've also put proper system to ensure that the payments are not delayed so that service providers don't run out of cash purely because government can't afford to pay service providers. The next area is hostel development program. We have the strong view that hostels remain the symbol of apartheid and we must find a way of redeveloping them to suit those that prefer this form of residential. Our view is that even though hostels were established for single-sex people, it's quite clear that they are now family units and we need to move and upgrade them to accommodate this interest. And that those that are staying within hostels, they also deserve all the necessary amenities that can be provided by government. We are proud that all the hostels that are owned by the Gauteng provincial government, we've connected them with free Wi-Fi. We've also included CCTV cameras and we've assigned medical support in terms of either clinics, and we've also added the support for ECD so that children that stay in this area don't have to travel a long distance on the basis that we believe hostels need to be redeveloped and realigned to be family institutions that get support from our government. Our next area of intervention is our urban renewal program, a program that ensures that townships are no longer townships on the basis of the way they were created by the apartheid regime, but they are modernized. They're provided with the necessary support and they represent the future of our country and the way we want our urban areas to look like. Here, we are also making a huge investment in terms of free Wi-Fi, huge investment in terms of CCTV cameras, and our ability to change the entrances and the exits of our township and allow people to get access to funding so that they can upgrade their own houses to move away from the township dwelling system that has characterized our country for quite some time. We are also taking a firm stand to upgrade informal settlement. the upgrading of informal settlements and breaking new grounds and to service sites is to identify those informal settlements that need recognition and demolish those that have been hijacked by people who invade land and mislead our people with an intention that government would invest in those informal settlements. The categorization of proper informal settlement and the labeling and formalization of this informal settlement we remain hopeful it will assist our people to know which informal settlement is within the radar of the government and which informal settlement is not, so that our people are not misled and left unattended. But despite our short-term challenges within the sector, the construction industry in South Africa has a very positive outlook in the medium to long term, with a compound annual growth rate of 5.7% expected for the sector between the years 2023 and 2027. Most of this expected growth is owing to increased government investment in large infrastructure projects, creating a demand for construction professionals, contractors, and subcontractors in the upcoming years, as well as the opportunities for SMMEs development. Our focus remains an area in which we want to accelerate delivery of integrated and sustainable human settlements across the province, with the aim of addressing the increased housing demand and reducing the housing backlog within the province. The Gauteng Department of Human Settlement continues to work systematically in order to expedite title deeds issuance and ensure that we hand over to our citizens an important economic asset that they can use in order to participate more meaningfully within the mainstream economy. In the next few days, we'll be releasing almost 1,300 new title deeds to our people so that we can allow them to use this title deed for economic activity, but most importantly, as an affirmation that the asset belongs to the family. And in order to improve housing delivery, the department is focusing on providing fully serviced stands to qualifying beneficiaries who are necessarily waiting on government, but who need immediate access to land so that they can build for themselves. This rapid land release program has been elevated by the Gauteng provincial government, funded, and we believe that it will assist us to drastically reduce the waiting list. The department has already done the preliminary work to enable its rollout of areas that need improvements and areas that will ensure that our communities don't look the same as they were during the apartheid era. We are committed to develop human settlements of the future. We are committed to be innovative so that our human settlement can speak to issues of artificial intelligence, that our human settlement can speak to connectivity, that our human settlements can be relevant to matters of transport, entertainment areas, but most importantly align with the cultural belief and religious belief of our people. It's within this context that consultation and engagement of various sectors of our society becomes crucial, so that we don't think as government we have all the answers and the ideas, that we must also incorporate those that have new ideas. With the population of our province having almost doubled over the past decade, there is a need for more robust spatial planning, sharper program delivery, supported by an agile human settlement policy, as well as a stronger urban governance across all spheres of government. We commit ourselves to be part of this process, and we want to take this opportunity to thank the National Department of Human Settlement, our national government, and all those that are involved in this particular sector. We are convinced, Honorable Chair, that the province is dedicated to ensuring water security in the Gauteng City region and reducing water supply interruptions to communities by investing in bulk infrastructure needed to support the growing population and economy. This also goes with upgrading and refurbishment of sewer treatment works downstream so that all sewer is treated to the required quality before disposing it to the rivers. We are working jointly.
Honorable Premier, thank you very much. Your time has expired. We thank you for your inputs.
Thank you.
Honorable Deputy President, honorable members, we now move on to the next presenter in this debate, and that is the Honorable Nzimande. Honorable Nzimande, you have 9 minutes.
Now, good morning, good afternoon, Chair, Deputy President, viewers at home, and members in this chamber. Firstly, I want just to remind the African National Congress that we used to say, you will be not a revolutionary party or organization if you'll beg the system of exploitation to integrate you. Together, we used to say the revolution overturn and destroy systems. Ansakusho lokho ngoba namavaga. Into enyeziwe nje senihlangene nalabantu ama-right wingers, Freedom Front Plus, Afro Forum, and DA. Hey, engalile uthambo mayisibona sinje. Let me remind you, the people's patience is not endless. Don't push us too far. Today's topic, Chairperson, strikes in the heart of social transformative agenda and which is instrumental in our social economic revolution. Chairperson, I stand as an advocate for our people with no roof over their heads, living in inhuman RTP houses with no privacy, much less than inferior than the matchboxes. Those lives in shacks who faces brutality of floods every day. Those who have been waiting endlessly for houses, those without running water, those drinking raw and untreated water mixed with sewer, those children at school and adults using the bucket system and unhygienic pit latrines, and those who are on daily basis enduring brutality of the system after building their own formal houses using their last cent of pension monies. I've witnessed, like you might have done, their houses being demolished by this brutal government in the quest to appease the thieves of our land and foreigners who have been given private property rights in our land. Oh, what a shame. The NCOP elucidates that by 2030, South Africa should have transformed human settlement and the spatial economy to create more functional, integrated, balanced, and vibrant urban settlement that has turned to be a pie in the sky. For the backlog is skyrocketing, with informal settlements growing faster than RTP houses. Our people enjoy the brutality of forced removal and demolition of their formal housing structures. It happened just recently at Kriel and some parts of the country. Irrespective that they've been living in such places for more than 3 decades. Millions of our people are living under deplorable conditions despite the constitutional obligation imposed on the government to positively ameliorate these conditions. The undertaking from the Freedom Charter that all people shall have the right to live where they choose, be decently housed, and to bring their families in comfort and security is dream deferred by this government. Give us a government in which a million of our people demise while waiting to enjoy the fruits of the charter. The elect GNU mafias have the audacity to stand on this podium with their heads high and talk of restoring the dignity to our people, despite being forewarned that the set targets in their plans are not realistic and achievable, owing to budget cuts, factors negatively impacting informal settlement upgrade, bureaucratic impediments, including compliance with environmental and spatial planning laws, slow proclamation of townships, and setting a realistic issuance of title deeds targets, while knowing that the destitute will not be able to afford the amount ranging between 20,000 to 50,000 as required. This DNU led by DA, ivele yenze njengabakhongi bezolobola bememeza ngamatshe emzini wendoda kungekho nkomo esibayeni. Furthermore, they unrealistically set targets to deliver provincial housing units, service sites, affordable rental units, and community resident units. The progress is marginal. Again, we are saying the people's patience is not endless. Don't push us too far in the name of law and order. There shall be no peace until our land is handed back to the rightful owners and the dignity of our people restored. We want our land back as much. The Freedom Front Plus, Afro Forum, and the darling African National Congress of Rama proudly stands here and speaks of restoring dignity of our people. Nisafuna omunye futhi 30 years ngaphezu kwalo ebeniwuthola. Hayi, This government has not only failed to restore dignity to our people for more than 3 decades, but have arrogantly displayed the don't care attitude. We are saying now is the time of our people to liberate themselves from the bondage of blind loyalty with misplaced hope that the right-wing parties, Freedom Front Plus Africa Forum, DA, in marriage with the ANC, shall bring them all freedoms. We are saying to our people, do not lose focus. The day shall dawn soon when we take over the government. On water, the National Water Task Team, led by the highest or second highest office in the land, has failed. The quality of water continues to decline, posing health risk, amongst others, due to the insignificant investment in water infrastructure by DA-GNU-led government. Despite severe strain on it due to an aging system, lack of maintenance, increasing demand, and climate change. Other than the quality of water, the deterioration of water infrastructure has consequences of intermittent supply and an increase of opportunistic like water tankers, mafias, created by the very same GNU. In some parts of our country, we're on the brink of day zero, but we have government. It is myopia to assume that South African National Water Resource Infrastructure Agency Act is a panacea for water infrastructure concerns. The cost for maintenance and expanding water infrastructure is passed to the consumers, including the one associated with the pumping and treatment of water. Water tariffs increased 4 times faster than inflation since 1996. Between 2020 and 2025, water prices in the country went up by 50%. Failure of DA-led GNU to have the adequate investment in water infrastructure continue to affect consumers negatively. Many national water projects have experienced undue delay due to the fund constraint, poor planning, and this corruption that is led by this government. Ages of delay ranges between 7 to 13 years. For example, we have lost a lot of money, like in Eastern Cape, 3 billion, project not finished. KwaZulu-Natal, 3.8 billion. Limpopo, 5 billion. No, nothing that is moving. The consequence of the incapabilities of this government mean communities in villages, including people from Ekuvugeni to Mhlumayo, will continue to drink the water mixed with sewer entering natural water. I speak for the people in the township, cities, and suburbs. I speak for the people staying at Haman village complex in Rooiport who have prepaid water meters paying COJ monthly, but taps have run dry for many months. These are the people affected by poor planning owing to inherent incompetency and corruption on the delayed projects. To DA, Freedom Front Plus, Afro Forum, and ANC darlings, we are saying the people's patience is not endless. Don't push us too far. To our people, we say the day shall dawn as your patience is not endless. Come 2027 and 2029. Okokugcina, si Deputy President, lokhu kokuthi uthembisa labantu abamabhunu DA ukuthi uzoyibhekisisa le ndaba ye BEE based on their submission. Usivusela amanxeba, la manxeba wawenza mzukwane, ugijima ne-Save South Africa. Amandla.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Nzimande. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, order. Can we now continue? We now move on to the next honorable member to participate, and that's the Honorable S.A. Duma, the MEC for Transport and Human Settlement from KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable Duma is on the virtual platform, and you have 10 minutes.
Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for according me this opportunity. Let me greet yourself, Deputy President, President Mashatile. Let me also greet the August House, including 2 premiers who are present, Premier Gauteng and Limpopo. In nature and by design, political demagogue in the 21st century, they will sound so sophisticated. It augurs well to listen to them as if they are progressive political. But when you zoom into deeper details, you'll then understand that there's nothing strategic coming from them. Actually, they are deeply embedded with the system. They are also inherently participating at night in ensuring that they are destroying what is currently existing. The Deputy President indicated clearly what has been achieved at this point in time. He did not dramatize anything. His is also a fund of what Amilcar Cabral said on the issue that tell no lies, claim no easy victories. The ANC is not claiming any easy victory at this point in time. And we are mindful of what transpired 75 years ago, 27 April 1950 to be precisely. A tiny minority celebrated the passing of the Group Areas Act, which is why today we must address such imbalances as we must talk candidly, almost as a collective effort in how are we going to address such imbalances. They rejoiced the creation of homelands and the isolation of millions of people from basic amenities such as water and electricity. A tiny minority believed that South Africa was becoming prosperous country as a result of Group Areas Act. And we're here that after the new dispensation in 94, yes, we understand, as Madiba clearly indicated, that after climbing a hill, you then realize that at least there are some millions of kilometers that must still be defeated in front of you. We're here for that purpose, that yes, 30 years later, our people today, they do have the shelter as a result of 1950, the 1955, the Kliptown. Yes, we understand that some of this infrastructure have been built. It is not yet enough, as the Deputy President was clearly indicating that what has been achieved is sustainable and succinctly giving us the assurance that a person who has not yet get a house understand that at least my neighbor have something, unlike in the past where you knew clearly that if you were with more melanin, then you're not going to be taken serious. There is one Hendrik Verwoerd, a man who kept his blinkers of ignorance very firmly. And he said, and I quote, if mixed development is to be policy of the future of South Africa, it will lead to the most terrific clash of interest imaginable. Such a clash can only bring unhappiness and misery to both African and white. The only possible way out is that both adopt a developmental divorce from each other, and I close quote. It is how historical those who are mentally colonized, who are saying that at least it was better in Egypt, are still saying. It's unfortunately when ordinarily you think people are presenting a story and they design or they label themselves as they're in the left politics, they talk of left politics, yet they are inherently saying that the ANC is not capable, the ANC is not in charge, not realizing that it is the system that makes them think like that. It is only those who are mentally colonized who can just say because an African is involved in leading, then things are not going okay. History is often made by ordinary people, Honorable Chair, because of their own experiences and the dictates of their circumstances are driven to perform extraordinary feats. The Story of Freedom Charter have already highlighted on the issue Gliplands Hostel, Kwamash Hostel and Township Suburbs Umlazi, Kwamash, Kwamakhuta, Ketomana, Hammersdale were created not for human settlements, but as a source of a cheap labor. Today we have 10 those into what is habitable, into what an ordinary citizen can also claim a victory because they do what is called the title deeds. We are distributing this almost on a regular basis, as Honorable Premier of Gauteng has already highlighted that historically we can only occupy and you have to be counted as if you're an animal because ours was just to contribute with cheap labor in the past. In a democratic South Africa, we have built Vulindlela expanded people's housing, which is called EPHP. The success of this flagship legacy project was driven by the direct involvement of families in the building of their homes. The remains ones of the biggest rural housing projects in the entire country. And we want to thank you, Deputy President. 9 wards in Msundu's local municipality with 2.6 billion funding to deliver 25,000 units. We currently can touch and feel what has been achieved by this government because the ANC is currently leading. We want to also appreciate it through Conopia Housing Development. We are responding decisively to the legacies of the Group Areas Act. Located few kilometers from King Shaka International Airport, which is a new invent, this King Shaka Airport. Historical, we have what was called Louis Border during the black and white era. Today, we have what can embrace almost everyone in the South Africa, in the province called KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable members, we wish to report the following progress in Konopia. 2,662 houses have been completed and title deeds handed over at the same time. We are building more than 1,200 units for the victims of devastating 2022 floods. 113 housing are being completed and will soon be handed over to the victims of 2022 floods. And that is going to be going on for years up until the backlog has been designed in such a manner that we have completed it. And we're clear and clinical in our approach. We don't claim easy victories. We don't talk broader politics, ideological, yet we destroy the infrastructure. Yet we are forming the darkness of the forces. We are living with the darkness forces at night. So we are not there, and we are not at some point in time collaborating with those who want to dismantle the country called South Africa. However, as the custodian of the rollout of human settlements, as empowered by the Constitution, will not fold our arms as the Department of Human Settlements when local and district municipalities fail to perform their responsibilities. We agree on that front that some are failing us dismal when it comes to strategic matters. We have moved in firmly and decisively in some municipalities. Our intervention is based on the fact that without sanitation, electricity, water, and access to roads, a house is not finished, Deputy President. So, Chair, we agree clearly with what has been presented. Based on our commitments to unblock and project, we have managed to reduce the number of block projects to 16 in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Out of 12 from the 16 are as a result of abdication of responsibility by district and local municipalities. There are municipalities who are water authorities, yet they are not giving access. Like, for instance, if I could just cite a few, we've already dealt with Tubaleti in Tonjani local municipality under King Cetshwayo. There is Mbulwane in Uthugela district, which is H section, Alfred Duma, and Shamoya and Mnyangweni rural housing project, both in Koslangalabaye local municipality under Uthugela. In this municipality, communities suffered a very long time with unfinished projects when the municipality failed to provide sanitation, electricity, and water. Honorable Chair, thousands of communities continue to contact us after benefiting from our integrated residential development project, which is RDP. Here we focus on delivering service site for people to build their houses. We continue to allocate plots of land where basic infrastructure such as road, water, drainage, and electricity is provided. As was spoken nicely, Deputy President, about the Splume, we are taking that into cognizance, not those who are just saying that occupy this land without any scrutiny, without checking the environmental impact assessment. They just say that as an opportunistic mantra and as a populism stance. If then government comes, you are seen as if you are not doing what is correct. So you must always take the responsibility as the caring government, but on the same breath, follow the aptitude level of what is the Constitution of South Africa currently. We've already built 35,000 for military veterans under the military veterans housing programs. Honorable Chair, the National Department of Human Settlements led by Minister Thembi Smelane targeting the registration and handover of 80,000 title deeds. This will unlock the asset value worth more than 16 billion, as trying by all means to address the imbalance of the past. For our part, as Department of Human Settlements, we have targeted to issue 2,481 title deeds in this financial year. We have appointed our own conveyancers to deal with challenges faced by municipalities. These include missing and deceased beneficiaries. In some instances, houses are occupied by illegal occupants. In other instances, houses are sold by unscrupulous criminals that we are currently dealing thoroughly with them. Then in conclusion, Honorable Chair, a house is made of bricks and beams. A home is made of hopes and dreams. We'll continue that as a revolutionary house. ANC as a progressive state, our people must always be serviced, not by a populism stance, not by a rhetoric, but we are practical even when they are suffering. As you know what transpired, Mshwati, were there on the first day after people were swept by a storm. We are going to install the TRUs. Even this December, right now, we will be contributing in ensuring that they've got shelter on top of their head. Thank you so much, Honorable Chair, for affording me this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Honorable Duma. We now move on to the next participant, and that is the Honorable Councillor Pakati from Salga, who has 10 minutes. Councillor Pagati, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Chair of the NCOP. Greetings to the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Honorable Premiers and MECs, Deputy Minister of Human Settlements, DM Mahambehlala, Honorable Chief Whip of the NCOP, honorable members. I bring greetings and well wishes from the South African local government fraternity as we wrap up another eventful year. We are moving into a year where we'll also be wrapping up another term of local government. It is an opportune time to begin reflecting both on our term of office as well as the cumulative journey since the advent of democratic developmental local government, starting with where we live, where we work and play, notwithstanding the numerous gains we have registered since democracy, which I will not get into today. Unfortunately, one of the stubborn legacy problems is spatial fragmentation. Our fragmented past, unfortunately, continues to haunt us. Poor cooperative governance and lack of integration in state planning across the spheres of government has undermined the integration and transformation of our spatial landscape. We have delivered over 5 million state-subsidized housing opportunities in various forms, possibly housing 20 to 30 million poor and vulnerable people. But we continue to place them in far-flung areas where they must forfeit up to 40% of their income on transport so that they can access economic opportunities. Beside the money they spend on transport, the time spent commuting is destructive to family life. Parents are unable to effectively bring up their children, resulting in some of the social problems that we continue to face. Despite years of land reform programs, the hunger for land to live on remains a challenge. While people may have housing opportunities on the fringes, they also need to stay close to their places of work. They then make means for themselves, unfortunately resulting in occupying land and buildings unlawfully. This used to happen on vacant land, thus creating informal settlements as we have come to know them. But now, people are occupying buildings in cities, particularly in city centers. The devastation that this has caused to property and lives is well documented, and I shall not dwell on such. Safe to say, we must be given space to curb unlawful occupation decisively, while at the same time delivering further housing opportunities. Our challenges are exacerbated by unprecedented urbanization. Stats SA has highlighted that the city of Johannesburg alone received 1 million people in just 10 years, most of them very poor. These people must be housed somewhere and given basic services, some for which they are not able to pay for. The conditions I referred to above are structural, institutional, and operational in nature. For example, the foundational assumptions on which municipal institutions are designed and anticipated to operate in the white paper on local government have not materialized over the last 3 decades. One example is the assumption that municipalities would be financially self-sufficient through, among others, the sale of trading services.
The macroeconomic outlook has not matched the consistent growth numbers that were anticipated in the foundational assumptions of the white paper. Stats SA reports indicate that between 1995 and 2025, South Africa's average real GDP growth rate was approximately 2.1%, albeit with variations over time. Consequently, millions of South Africans cannot afford municipal trading services. In turn, municipalities' own revenue base is in a perpetual state of decline. Municipalities owe 100 billion to creditors, mainly to Eskom and water boards. We have heard a lot of noise about this for obvious reasons and also understandably so. In the same token, they are owed 416 billion by both government departments and households. While this number is higher, we don't hear the same collective concern about it. I call upon all of us to rally equally around managing out this challenge, such that we can all subsequently focus on the delivery of the much needed services. The creation of integrated, sustainable human settlements in South Africa remains essential. Housing, including government-subsidized housing, must be delivered at the right locations in close proximity to economic and social opportunities. Municipalities need to be capacitated to play their part in the delivery of sustainable human settlements. In this regard, and within the context of Section 154 of our Constitution, the SALCA National Members Assembly held on the 25th to 27th of November, working in partnership with the Department of Human Settlements, committed to a local government human settlements support program, highlighting the critical support areas needed by municipalities to enable them to deliver integrated, sustainable human settlements. The human settlements grants, particularly the USDG and ISUPG, recognize that the creation of human settlements is not about just building houses. It includes the provision for critical infrastructure for water, sanitation, and basic services. They acknowledge that human settlements is inextricably linked with the delivery of safe, sustainable, and dignified water and sanitation services. This includes delivering to 5 million people living informally on the fringes of our cities and towns. We currently provide interim services through communal standpipes and chemical toilets. Some of our metros provide portable flush toilets, and where settlements are located near bulk infrastructure, communal ablution facilities are provided. The provision of water and sanitation, like housing, electrification, transportation, and employment, remains spatially unequal. Structural interventions in land and housing are needed to address this. We also need to maintain our infrastructure if we want to sustain and improve the significant gains we have made. Overall, Honorable Deputy Chair, nearly 90% of our households now have access to clean water, and 81% enjoy improved sanitation. We, however, acknowledge the challenges such as water losses, aging infrastructure, and climate risk remain, which we are working tirelessly to resolve. In pursuit of addressing the backlogs, including the maintenance, we are investigating innovative solutions such as accessing groundwater, reuse of wastewater, and integration of renewable energy.
As you conclude,
As I conclude, Deputy Chair, we are working with partners to scale up municipality-led innovation, water-efficient sanitation solutions, and in informal settlements. These include modular wastewater treatment off-grid.
thank you very much,
and-
Councillor.
Thank you very
Pakati.
much, Honorable Deputy Chair.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councillor Pakati. We always appreciate the cooperation and the association that we have with SALGA, and your presence in the chamber is always welcome. Honorable members, we now move on to the next debate, and that is from the Honorable Mokhai. The DA, you have 8 minutes.
Honorable Deputy Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President, honorable members, and fellow South Africans, good day. The National Council of Provinces is an important house of parliament, ensuring the voices of all three spheres of government are brought together under one roof. It is in this house that the local government sphere has a voice through its umbrella body, the South African Local Government Association, as we rightfully heard from Councillor Pakati, to give impetus to its issues in the national legislature. It is thus befitting that the theme of this debate today touches on the core of local government service delivery. Focal areas such as spatial planning, human settlements, and water and sanitation services. When local government succeeds, governance in general succeeds. I say this because the local government sphere is at the cold face of service delivery and closest to ordinary South Africans. When our municipal councils function and the administrative leadership is stable, citizens are guaranteed efficient and effective service delivery. However, when there is political instability in our councils and administrations are not functional, citizens bear the brunt and are at the receiving end of poor service delivery. We see this in many municipalities due to frequent leadership changes, unstable coalitions, factionalism, and a lack of separation between political and administrative roles, leading to governance paralysis, service delivery failures, and a decline in public trust. It is against this backdrop that the Democratic Alliance has always and will continue to fight and champion for local government that works to grow our local economies and create much-needed jobs. To this end, our proposal to make local government work better, we seek to, 1, limit political interference in public administration. Number 2, we need to strengthen accountability. Number 3, advance the fight against corruption and maladministration. Fourthly, we want to attract the brightest minds in the country to careers in public administration. Number 5, we want to establish mechanisms to ensure that best practice models are studied and replicated. And Honorable Chair and members, we've already seen this in DA-led governments, from right here in the city of Cape Town, to Umgeni in KwaZulu-Natal, to Midval in Gauteng, and many across the country. In these municipalities, we strive to have stable councils and functional administrations to better deliver services and those that are much needed to all citizens. And I say to all citizens. Our mission is clear: to provide clean, transparent, and accountable governance that delivers real change. We are committed to building safer communities, growing local economies, creating jobs, and ensuring reliable basic services for all residents. Honorable Deputy Chairperson and members, sadly, I cannot say the same about municipalities in the Northern Cape, the province I proudly represent in this House. Recently, we were told of 8 mayors who were elected in this current municipal term in the Karoo Hoogland in the Namakwa district.
I say 8 mayors in a small municipality. Let that sink in. The Tembelite local municipality, which covers the towns of Hopetown and Stradenburg along the N12, is unable to pay salaries to councillors and staff members. A few weeks ago, the municipal manager issued a memorandum informing council that the November 2025 remuneration will be delayed. This directly and negatively impacts the livelihoods of councillors and personnel alike. Additionally, this creates chaos and instability for the municipalities. I shudder to think what would happen should we in this house be informed about delays in our remuneration. Last month, the Democratic Alliance called on the Gamagara local municipality to urgently find a cost-effective and long-term solution to address its growing sewage problem, as towns are left without basic sanitation services. The municipality's only sewage truck allocated for Deben, Katu, and Olifantshoek have been out of order for about 3 weeks. The number of people waiting for their drains to be emptied is steadily rising. By the end of the month, many residents in Olifantshoek alone who had already paid to have their drains serviced are anxiously awaiting for the municipality to perform this function. Even when the broken sewage truck is functional, it is not adequate to efficiently service all 3 towns. With drains spilling over across the municipality, the situation has now reached a crisis point, presenting a health and safety issue, especially at places like old age homes. While the municipality's fleet department still does not know what is wrong with the truck, it has now temporarily outsourced the use of a sewage truck at a great cost to the municipality. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, honorable members, these are not isolated cases. Many municipalities under the ANC governance are on the brink of collapse, leaving residents destitute and in despair. In the Soplaiki local municipality, the capital of the province, there is an ongoing battle with the position of the municipal manager, who was suspended and replaced with an acting appointment who is alleged to be involved in financial crimes, raising further concerns. Given the grave nature of the ongoing saga regarding the municipal manager position and the seriousness and the serious repercussions for the service delivery and the financial and legal implications for the municipality, this is a slap in the face of Kimberley residents and the surrounding areas. As I conclude, Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I laid bare the myriad of challenges facing local government in our country. During the NCOP Provincial Week, these challenges were thoroughly reflected in our deliberations, with some municipalities unable to utilize and spend their crucial allocated grants effectively. The instability in various councils is a cause for great concern. We are indeed sitting on a time bomb. If we do not put our differences aside and roll up our sleeves to rescue our municipalities, especially the small dorpies and towns, we will fail the residents of our country whose hope is pinned on our shoulders. Let us recommit ourselves to be the champions of clean, accountable, and functional local governments. Honorable Deputy Chairperson, I thank you. Ke a leboga, baie dankie.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Thank you very much, Honorable Mukhai. We now move on to Limpopo, and I'm told that the Premier Ramatuba has been replaced by the MEC for Treasury, Honorable Mahai, who has 10 minutes on the virtual platform.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Chair of the NCOP, Honorable Deputy President of the Republic, esteemed honorable members of the NCOP, premiers and MECs present, fellow South Africans, good afternoon. It is our pleasure to stand before you today and respond to the essential matters raised by our Deputy President regarding the restoration of the dignity of our people. A fundamental right to dignity lies at the heart of our democracy and has become a cornerstone of our mission to uplift and empower the citizens of Limpopo. As many have noted, South Africa's history has been marred by an inequitable distribution of resources, creating a South African society defined by stark disparities in living conditions. Historically, Limpopo has borne the weight of being a reservoir for migrant workers forced into unfavored locations by colonial and apartheid era policies. The subsequent settlement patterns have perpetuated cycles of poverty and marginalization of the communities of Limpopo. Under the leadership of our government, we have implemented numerous programs aimed specifically at redressing these historical injustices. Through spatial planning and strategic human settlements, we are setting the stage for a fundamentally transformed society, one where every person, regardless of their locality, has access to the resources needed for a dignified life. Census 2022 has highlighted a significant demographic shift in our province, with our population swelling to a 6.5 million. This highlights the urgent need for sustainable human settlements, given the increase of approximately 1.2 million residents, or 393,480 households since the last census. As Limpopo now stands as the fifth largest province in the Republic, our capacity to provide for this growing populace is being simultaneously tested and redefined. In response to the substantial percentage of our youth who find themselves not in employment, education, or training, our government is committed to integrating youth-focused initiatives in all our areas of spatial planning. By doing this, we deliberately aim to not only address immediate housing needs, but also to create opportunities for economic inclusion. We have made considerable strides through integrated sustainable projects that prioritizes previously marginalized communities. An exemplary initiative includes the demarcation of sites within our traditional authority areas, which allows for not only housing, but also access to essential services. The establishment of well-planned residential zones underscores our commitment that all citizens deserve a dignified living environment. We are proud to report that during the last financial year, Limpopo has delivered 39,904 housing units, surpassing our targets of 30,732. Additionally, we have serviced 17,577 sites against a target of 8,400 during this period, demonstrating our unwavering commitment to meet the housing demands for our citizens. Furthermore, we are taking concerted steps to ensure that safe living conditions for our residents. Our efforts include demolishing 109 mud houses to be replaced by durable houses and completing 58 housing units dedicated to affirming the dignity of our military veterans. Vital to our endeavors is the prioritization of water and sanitation, which forms the backbone of health and dignity. Our commitment to improve the access and quality of these services is reflected in our comprehensive programs that include the removal of asbestos roofs, where 577 roofs have been removed with an additional 11,823 identified for future phases. The upgrading of informal settlements has also seen 3,354 sites connected to water and sewer infrastructure, reaffirming our dedication to creating sustainable living conditions. We recognize, however, that challenges remain. The demand for clean water and sanitation continues to rise, with recent assessments indicating that our province's water provision has fallen from 85% in 2010 to only 64% this current calendar year. The hashtag Inwamati Fridays campaign, launched in our Guyana local area, exemplifies our commitment to addressing these pressing issues and unlocking the necessary water for our communities. Through collaborative efforts in the Mopani district of our province, we've undertaken rigorous programs to refurbish boreholes, significantly easing the water burdens faced by residents, particularly women in rural areas. Projects led by the executive mayors across all the districts continue to ensure equitable access to potable water while providing hygienic living conditions. The Executive Council has set its sight on sustainability of water by establishing a provincial water council that will further strengthen the coordinating role of the province, led by the Premier herself and supported by the mayors. It is on this that we shall monitor the work done by currently established war room zones across the province. Concluding, our commitment to spatial planning signifies a broader commitment to dignity across all of the province. By prioritizing human settlements alongside adequate water and sanitation services, we can engender communities where every individual could thrive. As a province, we stand proud of achievements in sanitation at over 60%, but recognizes that our work will continue until every citizen experiences the dignity that is rightfully theirs. Our province's focus on developing a provincial spatial planning and land use management framework, along with participatory engagement strategies, will further enhance our mission of building an inclusive and equitable society. Together, with continuous collaboration among governmental bodies, non-state actors, stakeholders, and our communities, we will forge a path toward a Limpopo where every citizen feels valued, respected, and empowered. As we learn to navigate urbanization's complexities and climate challenges, I urge all of us to transform the very landscapes of our communities for the betterment of our South Africa. Thank you. Ndolebua Nakenza.
Thank you very much, Honorable MEC, for your input. We now move on to Mpumalanga Province, the land of the rising sun. And we have the MEC for Cooperative Governance, Human Settlements and Traditional Affairs, the Honorable Mashilo, who has 10 minutes on the virtual platform.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I'm not sure if I'm audible, but
yes, you are audible. Please continue.
Thank you very much, Chairperson, and a very good afternoon to your good self. May I greet the Deputy President of the Republic, the Honorable Premiers, the Honorable Members of the NCOP, fellow MECs, and indeed Salga Deputy Chairperson, Councillor Pagat. Let me join the President to discuss a very important topic, restoring the dignity of our people through spatial planning, provision of human settlement, water, and sanitation. I have noted this is the second time we debate this important matter. That suggests the item is very critical. It does not require politics, but it requires attention of all South Africans, in particular those that are in Parliament and in government. Honorable Chairperson, we congratulate the national government, led by His Excellency President Ramaphosa, for successfully hosting the G20 summit. This has cemented South Africa's place amongst the community of nations in the emerging world of multipolarity. This is not just a success for our country, but the continent. The resolution of this summit must find expression in all government programs and local government, municipalities, and indeed private sector. In this context, may I remind the House about the Council former President of the Republic, Honorable Thabo Mbeki, gave us. He said, open quote, "Let us put our resources together to create an infrastructure base that will protect us into the 21st century. Let us together work to expand job creation, both in the short-term approach on infrastructure development, in the long term through building a competitive and more equitably owned economy," close quote. Chairperson, the need for proper housing in Mpumalanga remains one of our most pressing challenges. We are addressing it through a clear program of action guided by the Human Settlement Master Plan and Medium-Term Development Plan. Our focus is stable, build faster, plan better, and develop communities in a way that brings people closer to opportunities. As a province, we are widening access through subsidies such as First Home Finance, which caters for the missing middle. In the 2023-24 financial year, we allocated 2,460 top structures, of which 1,522 has been completed. On the 2024-25 financial year, we allocated 2,342 top structures and 1,650 has been completed. Thus far, work is being done to complete all this soonest to address the housing backlog in the province. For 2025-26, we allocated 1,793 and already 691 are completed. This shows our commitment in delivering housing to the people of Mpumalanga. I must indicate that the population of Mpumalanga has grown significantly to 5.1 million. In addition, we have already built new social amenities in Nkomazi, Bushbuckridge, Victor Kanye, 2 areas in Middleburg, that is Steve Tshwete, Balfour, and Standerton. These include community halls and child care centers that strengthen families' life, give communities safe gathering spaces, and support early childhood development. Our work in informal settlement continues. Upgrading of informal settlement is in progress in Emalahleni, Kinross, Msholozi, Mkondo, and Leslie. These upgrades restore dignity and ensure people have access to basic services, and safer living condition is improved. Servicing sites remain a key part of our program. 7,000 are in Steve Tshwete municipality, 5,000 in Msugalekwa local municipality, and 5,000 again in Govan and Mbeki. 1,000 are in Amsterdam in Mkondo local municipalities, while 6,000 are in Gwamhlusha and in Nkomazi local municipalities. That is in our deep rural municipalities. They are already in the rollout phase. This approach helps government release land which faster for families who want to build for themselves. In the province, people confirm that while they are in need of RDP, but they can build houses by themselves, hence they want land. On asbestos, the province is continuing with the eradication of asbestos roofed houses. We have now eradicated asbestos roofed houses in the following local municipalities: Dipaleseng, no longer asbestos there, Chief Albert Lituli, Dr. Jess Moroka, Bushbuckridge, and indeed Nkomazi. We are also on the ground as we speak currently to eradicate asbestos roofs in Tabacheu and the Victor Kanye municipalities. We are mindful that there are still big municipalities such as Bombela, Emalahleni, and Chief and Govan Mbeki, where they still need the eradication of the asbestos. We are also rolling out catalytic projects that integrate housing infrastructure and public amenities, developments designed to bring people closer to the work, schools, and essential services. These are smart cities, the Hospital View, and Akon City that is equally driven by private partnership in Bushbuckridge. That's Nkosi City in Mbombela local municipalities and Verena Smart City in Tembisile local municipalities. On the home finance program, we have subsidized 454 families since the inception of this subsidy program. We are moving forward to subsidize more in this coming financial year. The difficulty in this regard has been implementation of the non-mortgage bond subsidies, but engagement with the national government of human settlement to review this policy are astute, and we are happy about that direction and the progress so far. Chairperson, dignity also depends on access to clean water and proper sanitation. In 1996, only 74.4% of households in Mpumalanga had water. Today, the figure risen to 87.5%, reaching more than 1.2 million population or household in the area. This program allows the investment of more than 26 billion through the MIC, the WISIC, the ARPIC, and the Integrated Urban Development Grant. Key projects include the Witbank Water Treatment Works, benefiting over 128,000 households, Mpuluzi, Methule, servicing more than 38,000 households. The Belfast Works supporting nearly 17,000 households, an upgrade in Steve Tshwete, Loskop Dam, and Tipaleseng reaching thousands more. Inyaka Dam, completed in 2001, with a capacity of 125 million cubic meters, remain the main source for clean water in Bushbuckridge, a community that was established in 1884. By then, never had a particular dam until 2001. But I must indicate today we are revamping other dams that are around the area. We are busy currently doing the plannings at advanced stage to put a dam in Mbombela. That Mbombela was established over 120 years without reliable water. On sanitation and access has grown from 34% in 1996 to 95% in 2002 in 2022, according to the State South Africa. Upgraded wastewater treatment works in Carolina, Ermelo, Delmas, Lightenburg, and Govenberg now serve more than 100,000 households. To support municipalities further, the department is developing a provincial sanitation plan to guide waste disposal management. And we are preparing a program to remove asbestos water pipes across all municipalities. We have come to realize that number of the leakages is because the pipes are more of asbestos and are indeed old. Chairperson, we are also refurbishing and upgrading 13 water treatment works, exploring partnership to finance major projects such as Mbombela Regional Dam, Mbalehle Bulk Sewer Bulk, and Lekwa Water Treatment Works. We are advocating that municipalities ring-fence between 8 and 12% of their equitable share for operations and maintenance. We are also reviewing water services powers and functions to strengthen district support and accountability. On electricity, we have seen a clear improvement. Load shedding remains one of the issues, but we have a clear program with the national government to respond to this particular challenge.
Thank you, MEC Mashilo. Your time has expired.
Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, MEC, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honourable members, delegates, the next participant in the debate will be the Honourable H.J. van der Berg, Freedom Front Plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Honourable Deputy President, members of this House, and my fellow South Africans. Deputy President, the Deputy President spoke eloquently about restoring the dignity of our people, and it's true that dignity comes with spatially well-planned housing areas. It's also true that human settlements should be developed with enough clean water and sanitation. However, there comes a time where we also have to face up to other undeniable truths. The first undeniable truth is the absolute size of our problem. Only 9% of the population pay personal income tax. This is about 5 million people. 60 million people does not pay personal tax. Rather, 28 million people receive social grants. Deputy President, this means that the war against poverty will never end, and there's just not enough funding available. When the household is uplifted, another will simply fill the gap that was left behind. Our population is growing way too fast for state-sponsored infrastructure to keep up. Yes, the war on poverty will never stop, except if we as citizens learn to do infrastructure by ourselves with minimal government intervention. Therefore, selling the idea of an end to poverty with grants and free housing to the voters is unfair and opportunistic.
The second undeniable truth is that forcefully taking from one to give to another has been abandoned in every major socialist country in the world because this kills individual performance. We are such a wonderful and smart mix of people, and we will find a way to make things work for all in South Africa. We all love Siya Kolisi and the Springbok rugby team. Why? Because together they are winners. When Siya gets the ball, the entire team throws their weight into the scrum behind him and drives forward together to score a try. Successful developing countries like China, Singapore, and South Korea also know this truth of working and winning together. They have used what they could find, like education, especially in science, maths, and production methods, and they use the power of entrepreneurship and individual motivation to grow, and then to ultimately reach their collective social goals. They create wealth first and then spread opportunity. It's time for us to score a try too. It's time to stop the old slogans and race divisions. These things are dragging us backwards. This very Christmas, thousands of South African families received retrenchment letters. Why? Because employers are legally compelled to get rid of staff purely on the basis of their skin color to meet new demographic quotas, and because companies are leaving due to a bad economic environment. This is not empowerment. It's state-sanctioned economic suicide. Albert Einstein famously said, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. For 31 years, the government has preached the same gospel of racial redistribution and central control. For 31 years, unemployment has climbed, infrastructure has crumbled, and investors have fled. The transformation delivered empty promises. While the pot stayed full of nothing but boiling water, they sold us pap and sauce, but only served hot air. It's time for policies that actually work like everywhere else in the world. Lower tax, productive projects, light but smart regulation, protection of property rights, merit-based appointments, consequence of bad performance and corruption, and an absolute end to racial engineering. South Africa deserves better than ideological madness dressed up as compassion. Until that day comes, the Freedom Front Plus will be the adult in the room, saying the things others does not want to hear. Someone has to speak for the workers who are losing their jobs and for the generations yet unborn who deserve a country that works better for them too. Thank you. Baie dankie. Nkosi.
Thank you very much, Honourable van der Berg. Moving on with the subject of today's debate, hopefully we will have the Honourable Finis representing the African National Congress. Honourable Finis.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson, Honourable Deputy President, Honourable Members. Iemand het my eendag gesê, Honourable van der Berg, ons verander, onze lewens is verander op verskillende maniere. Iemand wat nie 'n huis gehad het nou 'n RDP-huis. Iemand wat nie 'n erf gehad het nou ten minste 'n erf. So ons kan nie almal sê ons lewens is nie verander nie. Dit is op een of ander manier verander. Honourable members, it is both an honor and a responsibility to stand before you today as we reflect on and advance the vision of a South Africa where every citizen has access to a decent, dignified place to call home. A home that offers not just shelter, but a foundation for a better life. One that enables individuals and families to strive, to grow, and to contribute meaningfully to our collective prosperity. In this regard, we are not simply talking about the provision of physical structures, but about the creation of integrated, sustainable, and climate-resilient human settlements that reflect the values of equity, inclusivity, and opportunity that our Constitution enshrines. As the African National Congress, we continue to affirm that housing is not just a commodity, but a fundamental human right. Honorable members, one of the most significant achievements of this democratic government is in the last 3 decades has been our ambitious and sustained commitment to addressing the housing crisis left behind by apartheid. Through initiatives such as the Integrated Residential Development Program, the Social Housing Program, and the upgrading of informal settlements program, we have laid the foundation for a more just and inclusive housing sector. The IRDP has played a pivotal role in providing affordable housing for low and middle income households, focusing on integrated communities that combine residential, social, and economic infrastructure. As of 2023, the IRDP has successfully delivered thousands of housing units across the country, promoting mixed income developments and fostering communities where access to jobs, schools, and healthcare and transport is improved. In addition, the social housing program has significantly contributed to providing rental housing options in urban areas, addressing the growing demand for affordable, secure accommodation. This is an important step forward in ensuring that low-income earners, particularly those in urban centers, have access to adequate and affordable housing. The upgrading of informal settlements program has also seen notable progress in improving the quality of life in many of our informal settlements by providing services like water, sanitation, and electricity. We have seen tangible improvements in the lives of millions of South Africans who had previously been denied access to these basic rights. While much has been achieved, we must acknowledge the scale of the task ahead. There are still many communities living in informal settlements without access to basic services, and the need for quality, affordable housing continue to grow. The ANC remains committed to scaling up these efforts and ensuring that no South African is left behind. Honorable Chairperson, a key priority for the ANC has always been to eradicate the legacy of apartheid slums and the dire and unsafe conditions of which millions of South Africans were forced to live under colonial and apartheid rule. Through the Breaking New Ground program, we have made significant strides in addressing this issue, but we cannot afford to lose momentum. BNG housing projects aim not only to build homes, but to create sustainable, integrated human settlements with access to transport, schools, clinics, and community centers. This holistic approach ensures that families do not just receive a house, but gain a place within a community that offers opportunity and social mobility. We must accelerate the implementation of the BNG program, ensuring that the houses we build are resilient, safe, and environmentally sustainable. Inclusive settlements must have adequate infrastructure, such as transport networks that connect people to jobs and essential services, roads that ensure accessibility for all, particularly in underserved areas. Lighting to improve safety and security, particularly in informal settlements and townships. Playing fields, creches, and social centers to ensure that our children and communities have spaces for recreation, education, and social cohesion. As the ANC, we believe that every citizen should have the right to live in a community that meets these basic services. To the end, we are working to ensure that our settlements are designed with these principles in mind, creating environments that are not only livable, but strivable. Honorable members, climate change is one of the greatest challenges facing the world today, and South Africa is no exception. We have seen the devastating effects of floods, droughts, fires, and other climate-related events on vulnerable communities, particularly those living in informal settlements. It is essential that we design and build homes that are resilient to these climate shocks. This means using sustainable building materials, designing homes that can withstand extreme weather events, and ensuring that communities have access to early warning systems and climate resilient infrastructure. Creating decent and climate resilient human settlements goes beyond just constructing homes. It is about building communities where people can live, work, and play with dignity and opportunity. This will require a concerted effort to integrate climate adaptation and resilience into all housing and settlement planning. It is time to build settlements that are not only safe and dignified, but also climate smart. Honorable Chairperson, the need for rental and social housing in South Africa is growing, particularly in urban centers where the population is increasing rapidly. Many South Africans cannot afford to purchase homes, and even fewer can access the formal rental market due to high costs. The ANC is committed to increasing the rental and social housing stock to ensure that affordable housing options are available to the poor and the vulnerable. The ANC campaign on affordable housing in Cape Town is a case in point, a campaign aimed at improving the accessibility of rental properties for low-income households in the city, ensuring that rent are not just affordable but equitable. The need for affordable housing has never been greater. We must not only increase the supply of such housing, but also ensure that these homes are available in the right locations, close to public transport, jobs, and services. This is the only way to ensure that our communities remain resilient in the face of urbanization and democratic shifts. Honorable members, as part of our ongoing efforts to address spatial inequality and expand access to affordable housing, the ANC supports the appropriation of unused and abandoned property in strategic areas for the public good. Too many properties in our cities and towns lie dire with absentee landlords failing to develop these prime pieces of land. By expropriating these properties, we can ensure that valuable land is used in the public interest, particularly for the development of affordable housing and mixed-use settlements. That will also help to prevent speculation and ensure that land is used in a way that benefits the people of South Africa, rather than being held for profit by a few. We are committed to exploring the legal mechanisms necessary to ensure that this land is put into productive use and contributes to the creation of inclusive and resilient communities. Honorable Chairperson, one of the most pressing issues facing South Africa housing sector is the missing middle. Those South Africans who earn too much to qualify for government subsidies but too little to access the formal housing market. This demographic is often excluded from both public and private sector housing options. The Fire Home Finance Housing Scheme seeks to address this gap by creating affordable financing mechanisms for the missing middle. This will allow those who fall within the income range of 3,500 to 22,000 rand per month to access affordable housing finance and secure their first home. We must transform the mortgage funding landscape to ensure that affordable housing is accessible to a broader swath of South Africans, particularly in areas where housing markets are inflated, such as Cape Town, Johannesburg, and Durban. By addressing this gap, we will ensure that no one is left behind in our quest for equitable housing. I thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Honourable Finis. Honourable members, from the Northern Cape, we go across the entire country, go to the Eastern Cape, where the United Democratic Movement is represented today by the Honourable Peter, as always.
Sihlalo wendlu mandibulele ndibulise namalunga lendlu ahloniphekile ngamazwi othando naxa siqukumbela unyaka. Ndiyanibulisa. Mandenze onkawu umtsi esihlalo ngaphambili ndibulele kumapolisa aseSulenkama ngokuthi enze umsebenzi omhle ngokuthi awabambe amagunzayi. Loo nto ke siyiqhobela izandla si-UDM siwabulela amapolisa aseSulenkama. Vumani ke ngoko mawethu ndinyole apho kufele khona ithole. Ukulimala koMzantsi Afrika kwanokuwa kwesidima soluntu yaba kukusela koluntu amanzi nezimvu phantsi korhulumente wesininzi. Ndicela ukhonyuluka ndigqwathule kolu lwimi lwasemzini kuba ixesha liqhatshwe yinja. South Africa is confronted with many challenges that faces all subjects or citizens. The most challenge that confronted South Africa is when South Africa was downgraded to be a jungle state. For the first time in the history of a democratic South Africa, these challenges led to the following circumstances. State capture was the most virus that collapses the South African economy. State capture produces corruption, produces unemployment, famine, crime, state looting, extortion, and nepotism. All these led to the fall of Eskom, Transnet, South African Airways, South African Post Office, Itala Bank, and many more. Walahleka umthetho inkcubabuchopho zilibambile ilizwe. Wangena umkhuhlane wazenzela eluntwini. Wabulawa umntu ilanga lihlaba umhlaba. Wabe urhulumente yena ekobubi ubuthongo. Semka isidima somntu ilanga lihlabe umhlaba. Aphela amathemba ilanga lime entungo. Ubumnyama bubhukile. Aphi amanzi eBhofolo. Aphi amanzi eNxukhwebe. Aphi amanzi entoleni. Kanti babebulawelani oSolomon Mahlangu. Babebulawelani oSteve Biko. Yayibulawani iCredit 4. Otata uVictor, omama uVictoria Mxenge, oChris Hani, oRuth First, oJoe Gqabi nabanye. Abantu bethu namhlanje basadinga iziseko zikarhulumente. Sekela mongameli, xa abemi beli lizwe bengenakukhala kuwe, kuphi apho benokukhala khona ingenguwe. Ndivumele ke sekela mongameli ndikhumbuze amaqabane kaTambo ngokufa nokubulawa kwabemi beli lizwe ngokungenalusini bebulawela ukufuna impilo engcono phantsi korhulumente wengcinezelo. Hleze kuthi kanti kumaqabane kaTambo dala kade bemkhwahlaza dizadala kade bemqongqotha sele balibala sele babalibala abantu abasekho kwinhliziyo zabo. Kwibhisho massacre ngo-1992 kwakusifa bani yayingengomntu mnyama na. Kwi-Shell House massacre ngo-1994 Johannesburg taxi rank bombing kwakusifa bani yayingengomntu mnyama na. Germiston taxi rank bombing by AWB in 1994 kwakusifa bani yayingengomntu mnyama na. Ngoku abantu bethu badinga izindlu basela amanzi nezimvu siphike isidima somntu omnyama kuphethe bani kanti. I-UDM yabuza ukuba kubani lo usacengwayo ngokunika abantu bethu amanzi, izindlu nomphutha. I-UDM yabongoza kurhulumente akhawulezise ukunika abantu i-title deeds angami ekhusela isidima esingekhoyo. Ngoko ke oRholihlahla Nelson Mandela, OR Tambo, siyatsho si-UDM sivume sithi bayanxakama. Umlambo ujonge ezantsi, vuke ebuthongweni mongameli. Enkosi.
Thank you very much, Honourable Peter. We now go to the Honourable Farmer from the Patriotic Alliance. Honourable Farmer, 5 minutes.
Honorable Chairperson, Honorable Deputy President, Honorable members, my fellow citizens, I greet you in the name of Jesus Christ, who died on a cross for our sins. Today's theme is not merely a talking point, it's a long overdue confrontation with the painful truth that millions of South Africans still live without the dignity guaranteed to them by this democracy. And so, Honorable Deputy President, the Patriotic Alliance welcomes your address, but we must also be honest, this debate cannot be another ceremonial exercise. Our people can no longer survive on promises, they are demanding delivery. As we've seen this past week on a farm called Lemoenpoort 2 in the Ward 19 of Bredeville municipality outside Worcester, where a farmer removed the roof of a house while a 2-year-old is still sleeping in that house. We engaged legal aid and they could manage to get the farmer to put the roof back. This just shows how our people are treated in this beautiful run province of the Western Cape. Honourable Chairperson, South Africa's apartheid spatial planning still defines the daily suffering of the poor. Our people still live far from work, far from opportunity, far from clinics, far from schools, and sometimes far from hope. Yet 30 years in democracy, many communities still walk kilometers to a communal tap. Many still share toilets with 20 other families. Many still live in informal settlements that burn every winter and flood every summer. And many still wait for the title deeds that would give them dignity, ownership, and generational wealth. This is not dignity, this is survival. Chairperson, the PA believes that restoring dignity must begin with restoring functionality in government. Spatial planning means nothing if municipalities cannot even fix a pipe, maintain a pump, or collect refuse on time. The failures we see across the country are not because our people are difficult, it is because government systems are broken. But today the Patriotic Alliance chooses not to recycle the failures of others. 1, speed over studies. South Africans are tired of feasibility studies that are repeated every 5 years. The PA's approach is simple. Fix now, build now, and deliver now. When a community's water pump is broken, you fix it in 24 hours. You don't write a 12-week report. When a settlement floods, you drain it immediately. You don't wait for disaster funding approval. That is the culture we bring into government. 2, title deeds as a priority, not a gift. For too long, title deeds have been used as political bait. The PA stands firm. If a family has lived on a piece of land for generations, they must own it, period. Restoring dignity starts with restoring ownership. 3, build communities, not just houses. Human settlements are not RDP boxes. A settlement must include economic opportunities, clinics, functioning water systems, schools, community safety plans, and youth recreation spaces. We must move from housing projects to livable neighborhoods. That is true spatial justice. Water and sanitation, non-negotiable basic rights. Chairperson, a country cannot call itself a modern state when children still use pit toilets and mothers still carry buckets of water. We must prioritize modern sanitation, emergency water provision, maintenance of pumps, pipes, and reservoirs, strict consequence management for municipal failures. Water is life, sanitation is dignity. Failure is not an option. 5, youth must be built into the future. Spatial planning cannot ignore the youth. They must not inherit broken cities, broken infrastructure, and broken municipalities. Honourable members, a family receiving clean water, running water for the first time, there is dignity. A grandmother receiving a title deed after waiting 25 years, there is dignity. A child growing up in a safe neighborhood where toilets work and taps run, there is dignity. A young person finding opportunity in their community instead of running from their community, That is what true spatial justice looks like. In closing, Chairperson, let this be the beginning of a new era of action, fast, honest, and people-centric. Deputy President Munibaizani, salute.
Thank you, Honourable Fowler. Honourable members, the next speaker at the podium will be the Honourable Brits from the Democratic Alliance. Honourable Brits, you have 6 minutes.
Geagte huisvoorsitter, geagte adjunct-president, geagte lede en my landgenote. We all agree on the principle before us today. The dignity of our people is not optional. It is constitutional. To say that dignity must be restored is an admission that many South Africans still remain without respectful treatment and protection from harm or humiliation. In this debate, you cannot continue to blame the past without taking introspection yourself. Previous ANC plans were dense, Honourable Garebe, but delivery on the ground remains thin. Instead of a state that plans properly and delivers once, we have a state that plans twice, pays twice, talks a lot, and still fail to deliver properly. Dignity will not be restored by rowdy public speeches like that of Honourable Nzimande, whose party has built nothing, policy documents and PowerPoint frameworks. Our people cannot drink a framework, and they cannot sleep under a PowerPoint presentation. Let us look at the state of spatial planning, human settlements, water, and sanitation realities facing many South Africans today. In the Eastern Cape and in other provinces, Honourable Lesufi, the story is not one of dignity restored. It is a story of systems built on paper while people remain deprived of dignity. For example, the Nguza Hill 500 rural housing project was initiated in 2009. The first contractor was appointed in 2012. That contractor surrendered the project in 2021, having completed just, wait for this, 110 houses. That means that for more than a decade, families on that beneficiary list have been waiting in limbo, watching half-built structures decay right in front of them. The Eastern Cape Province reports taking over 10 projects from OR Tambo, 5 from King Sabata Dalindyebo, and the staggering, wait for it, 260 projects from the Mhlonhlo municipality, all because implementing agents and contractors have failed. This is not dignity restored. That is dignity deferred. Chairperson, if there is one area where the language of restoring dignity rings most hollow, it is water and sanitation. On paper, the Eastern Cape Province tells us that 80% of households have water access and 94% have sanitation. Those are neat numbers, but the reality is far removed. The Mzimvubu water project, once held as the development of South Africa's largest undeveloped water resource, was initially planned in 2014. To make a long story very short, we are now told that this project will be completed in 2031. Also in Makana and in Kokama, residents are still failed by being left without sustainable clean water. This is a human rights indictment. So, when we speak of restoring dignity through water, we must be honest. In many communities, dignity remains postponed for decades. The clearest indictment against the dignity of people is not conceptual, it is human. Just look at the Maiden Farm in Mthatha, where food victim families still wait for basic items like beds, toilets, and electricity. If we cannot guarantee dignity to people who have lost everything in a disaster, then the claim of restoring dignity is not just overstated, it is morally offensive. Honorable members, you cannot claim spatial transformation when rural communities remain cut off by impassable gravel roads like that of Nguza Hill Memorial Access Road, now in poor condition and on hold. If we are serious about restoring dignity, then we must be serious about consequence management, competent implementation, and honest reflection. Dignity will not be restored by more task teams, more dashboards, more extended timeframes, and it still needs to be seen if anything will come from the DDM. Dignity will be restored when a housing project that started in 2009 is actually completed. When bulk water schemes deliver water.
Honourable Brits, if I can ask you to take your seat, please. Yes, Honourable Nonkonyana.
Chair, I'm just rising on a point of order. My learned colleague is calling Nguza. And that word is offensive. And she's saying Nguza.
Honourable Nonkonyana, I'm not sure that I get the nuances of your point of order. I'm sure it's a pronunciation issue. Honourable Brits, if I can ask you to please continue with the speech and use the pronunciation that is best suited to your tongue, and let's hope that it doesn't offend anyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable House Chair. And must I reply to the Honourable and say, we are busy with serious issues, and you make a joke thereof. Dignity will be restored when a housing project that started in 2009 is actually completed. When bulk water schemes deliver water, when flood victims have a bed, a working tap, a functioning toilet, and electricity, or when a gravel road to a memorial site, a clinic, or a school is actually drivable in the rain. In conclusion, Honourable House Chair, the dignity of our people was not restored as promised over the past 3 years, but it's still being administered, managed, deferred, and denied. Let all of us put South Africa first, recommit ourselves today to restore dignity by treating every South African with the respect and fairness they deserve.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honourable Brits. Honourable members, before we continue with the debate, honourable members, I would like to just make one point for the sake of good order in the House. While we do appreciate the attendance of visitors in the gallery, this is not a movie house, and your behaviour in the gallery is required to respect the decorum of the House. So please, if you are eating in the gallery, please go outside. If you're sleeping in the gallery, please go outside and respect the decorum of the House. This is not a movie theatre. Thank you very much. Honourable members, we continue with the debate. The next speaker is the Honourable Nonkonyana from the African National Congress in the Eastern Cape.
Honourable Chairperson, Your Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic, honourable members of this House, and esteemed South Africans, I greet you all in the revolutionary spirit of the African National Congress, the glorious movement of the people, a movement that for more than a century has remained committed to the liberation, upliftment, and dignity of all who live in our beloved country. Today, we gather to reaffirm a fundamental principle deeply embedded in the soul of our revolution. To say it loud and clear that access to clean water and dignified sanitation is not a privilege, not a favor and not a commodity. It is indeed a basic and fundamental human right that must be enjoyed by all. It is a right recognized and embedded in our Constitution, a right mandated by the Freedom Charter of 1955, and a right consistently upheld through the ANC policies, resolutions, and manifestos over the years. Chairperson, the ANC's commitment to universal access to water did not begin in 1994. It is rooted in our struggle traditions in an effort to provide our people with a dignified quality of life. The Freedom Charter, the guiding star of our revolution program, stated that, I quote, "there shall be houses, security, and comfort," close quote, and declared that all people must be able to live in conditions that uphold human dignity. We understand even then that water and sanitation are central to comfort, dignity, human health, human development, and human rights. Indeed, it is entrenched in Section 27 of our democratic constitution, which states unequivocally that everyone has the right to sufficient water and that the state must take reasonable measures to progressively realize this right. Throughout the democratic era, successive ANC governments have developed and implemented robust progressive policies and enacted various pieces of legislation, such as National Water Act of 1998 and the Water Services Act of 1997, which is currently under review through the Water Services Amendment Bill of 2025. As Honorable Minister, Comrade Pemi Majodina, Indoni Yamanzi, has stated, and the objective of this amendment, and I quote her, its aim is to target gaps revealed during implementation, particularly the widespread failure of water services authorities to perform their regulatory and oversight functions, close quote. The urgency of this reform is underscored by the 2025 Blue Drop and 2022 Green Drop assessments, which found that 105 out of 144 water services authorities were experiencing serious service delivery challenges, undoubtedly affecting the municipalities responsible for reticulation of water to households. Some have performed well, but many are struggling due to aging infrastructure, weak governance, insufficient technical skills, and poor maintenance. True to its tradition of self-correction, the ANC has initiated these comprehensive legislative and institutional reforms. These include the National Water Services Improvement Program, which targets municipalities with failing system, the District Development Model, which ensures integrated planning and investment across all spheres of government. The increased allocation to infrastructure maintenance is essential to sustainable delivery. Complementing these measures, a strategic framework such as National Water Resources Strategy, the Medium-Term Strategy Framework, and ANC's 55 National Conference Resolution, all of which reaffirm the movement's commitment to achieving universal access to water and sanitation. These are not merely policy documents, they reflect the living expression of the ANC's dedication to advancing the well-being of the people of South Africa, restoring and strengthening municipal capacity so that no community is left behind. It is important for us to highlight the progress that has been made, because in a time when some choose to distort history and deny transformation, it is our duty to change the narrative and boldly articulate the real, tangible work done by the ANC government. Since 1994, access to water has expanded dramatically, rising just above 60% of the households at the dawn of democracy to well above 88% today. Millions of families are now able to get water from a tap that simply did not exist before. A direct result of deliberate, people-centered policy of the ANC government. While this reflects substantial progress,
Honourable
it is
Chair.
important.
Honourable Nonkonyana, please take your seat. Yes, Honourable
It's taken
Bartnos.
2 minutes of my time. Thank you.
We will pause your time, Honourable Nonkonyana. Honourable Bartnos, what is your point of order?
Horizon Rule 61(1)(b). Honourable members now twice said that the ANC government, there is no ANC government. It's misleading. There's a GNU government in which the ANC is the largest party. That's a GNU government in which the ANC is the largest party. There is no ANC government. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honourable Bartnos. To be frank, I'm not sure that the context speaks only to the current government. It may have referred to the previous government from the part that I heard, but we can listen back to the Hansard and make a ruling once we've heard the correct context. Honourable Nonkonyana, if we can ask you to continue with your speech, please.
Thanks. While this reflects the substantial progress, it is important to note that most recently, 2024 General Household Survey shows that about 89% of households have access to piped water, including communal and yard taps, whereas only around 75.8% have access inside their dwelling or yard. This confirms both the strides made and remaining work required to ensure that every household enjoys convenient, reliable water access. We can proudly speak of major strategic infrastructure projects such as the Lesotho Highland Water Project, which continues to secure water supply to Gauteng and surrounding provinces, the Mukulu and Crocodile River Water Augmentation Project, supporting Limpopo, and Umkomazi Water Project, augmenting supply to KwaZulu-Natal. The raising of Clan William Dam, and countless bulk supply projects implemented through Rand Water, Umgeni Utukela Water, Lipele, Northern Cape, Sitbeng Water, Ludega Dam, as well as Wave Crest in Jeffreys Bay in the Eastern Cape, and many others. These are all living monuments to the ANC's commitment to ensuring universal water access to current and future generations. Chairperson, I would like to point out that municipalities cannot do this alone. That is why the ANC government has expanded and empowered the role of water boards. Water boards are no longer only bulk water suppliers. They are now central pillars in supporting municipalities through technical expertise, project management, infrastructure refurbishment, and reduction of water losses. Rand Water, Umgeni, Amatola Water, and Sitibeng Water and others have been mandated to ensure that municipalities, especially the weaker ones, receive the guidance, skills, and support necessary to fulfill their constitutional duties. This is not the outsourcing of responsibility. It is an expression of cooperative government, a principle that is at the heart of the ANC's developmental state. Equally, infrastructure alone will not give South African reliable water and sanitation services. We must invest in people with relevant skills and expertise, such as engineers, the hydrologists, the scientists, the process controllers, the artisans, the plumbers, and the young professionals who keep the system running. The ANC has prioritized human capital development through the National Water and Sanitation Skills Master Plan, SITA partnership, the revival of water sector academics within institutions like Rand Water Academy and Umgeni Tugela Services Institute of Learning, and the municipal training programs focusing on asset management and water treatment. The 54th and 55th ANC national conferences reaffirmed the need to build a capable state, and in the water sector, this translates into investing in the human beings who will sustain the system for generations to come. Honorable Chairperson, we must also speak openly about sanitation. Dignified sanitation is a matter not only of service delivery, but of humanity, dignity, and safety. No child should attend a school where the toilet is a pit latrine. No woman should risk her safety because of inadequate sanitation. No community should suffer indignity because basic infrastructure has not been provided. Under the ANC, the SAFE program has already replaced thousands of unsafe and inappropriate sanitation facilities in schools. The rural sanitation program continues to provide dignified housing sanitation in rural areas, while major urban municipalities are receiving investment to repair and upgrade sewer systems that have deteriorated over the years. The 55th conference resolutions aims at ensuring that pit latrines must be eradicated and that dignified sanitation must be prioritized as a matter of urgency. Every school, every home, and every community must have sanitation that restored dignity. That is the ANC's stance, and it is non-negotiable. Kuzofuneka ke mhlawumbe ngaphambili sibhinqe umfutshane kuba abantu basekhalisha neziphaluka xa besiye kubo kwezi veki ziphelileyo baye balila bekhala uba basenyonywini phantsi kombutho nombuso ke we-DA apha eKapa. Another challenge, we must deal with the unacceptable level of water losses or non-revenue water due to leaks, illegal connections, and aging pipes. The ANC program to reduce water losses include leak detection campaigns, smart metering, maintenance funding, and stronger enforcement measures. Reducing water losses is essential, not only for sustainability, but also for protecting this precious national asset. Equally, we must also address the historical inequalities. We also want to continue to strengthen governance and accountability in the water sector. Measures include reintroduction and enforcement of the blue drop, green drop, and no drop assessments, improved transparency in water quality reporting, stronger oversight of municipalities, anti-corruption initiatives, and public disclosure of wastewater plant compliance. Ethical government is a fundamental ANC principle, and it must underpin water and sanitation delivery. Ensuring universal access to water and sanitation is not the responsibility of government alone. It requires active participation from communities, civil society, labor, business, and traditional institutions. We call upon all sectors of society to protect the infrastructure, report leaks, use water wisely, participate in community water forums, and uphold the spirit of shared responsibility. Water justice is a collective national project, and water conservation is a patriotic duty. In conclusion, the ANC stands firm and unwavering in its resolve. We are the movement that fought for human dignity, and we continue to fight for the full realization of the right to water and sanitation. Under the ANC, dams have been built, pipelines have been laid, treatment plants have been upgraded, access has been expanded, governance has been strengthened, skills have been developed, pit latrines are being eradicated, and transformation is being advanced. Our mission is clear: to ensure that every South African, in every village, every township, every farm, every informal settlement, and every city enjoys the security and dignity that comes with reliable water and decent sanitation. This is the ANC's promise, the ANC's program, and the ANC's legacy. Let us move forward together, united in purpose, guided by the values of our movement, until every tap flows and every household receives the dignity it deserves. But dankie voorsitter.
Thank you to the father of Londi, Honorable Nkosi Nkonyana, sailing close to the wind. Honorable members, I now invite to bring the debate to a close. I invite back to the podium the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa, Paul Mashatile.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you, House Chair, for this opportunity to make a few remarks. I was listening attentively to the debates. I was a bit worried initially when Honorable Peter said the problem of this country started when we were downgraded to be a jungle state. But I suppose you are talking about the issue of junk status, not a jungle state. But otherwise, Chairperson, let me indicate that all honorable members who participated in the debate have made very important inputs, and I want to thank all of them. And thanks to our premiers of provinces for their inputs as well. This is a very important topic, restoring the dignity of our people, particularly through spatial planning and also the provision of human settlement and sanitation. When I was listening to the premiers of provinces or the MECs who spoke, it's quite clear that a lot of work is happening in provinces. They are, of course, dealing with many years of deprivation, of problems that were caused even since the apartheid era. But you can see that a lot of work is happening. So I need to thank them for that. We must always remember, honorable members, that we came from a painful past that we now have the opportunity to correct. So let's seize the moment. Our generation working together must correct the injustices of the past. And I want to stress working together. It's very important that once we understand the enormity of the problem, we tackle it together. And I think some of the members who spoke emphasized that point. We are called upon in this debate to continue to plan properly, to distribute land, expropriate land where possible, but build houses on well-located land. We know that many of our people have been located far away from economic opportunities. Spend a lot of money on taxis, on buses, and are left with nothing for their sustenance. So it's important that as we plan now using Spluma, we need to take that into account that there is land available closer to where there are economic opportunities, and that's where we need to build for our people so that they are not in the periphery of towns. The other important item that was raised here is that we need to provide people with title deeds. Because otherwise, if they don't have title deeds, the properties they have is dead capital. So it's important that we provide them with title deeds so that they have assets in their hands to be able to improve their livelihoods. Because once they have title deeds, they can go to the banks and say, look, I own a house, I own a property, and they're able to get loans against those properties. If they don't have title deeds, it's almost like they have nothing. So I'm happy when the Human Settlement Department say they are speeding up that process of providing title deeds to people. And I think we must encourage them to move even faster to do so. But of course, even though they have title deeds, we must make sure that those properties, those houses, do have water and proper sanitation, particularly clean, drinkable water. And let's not forget the rural areas. We often get complaints that in rural areas, people drink water where animals drink. And I think it's something that we must attend most urgently in those villages. Now, to be able to attain all this, to achieve this, we do need to fix local government. I think this is very important. Local government is closer to the people. Councillor Pagati, you emphasized that. So we need to fix local government. Let's make local government work better. Make sure that those municipalities are viable, because all of us have accepted that some of our municipalities are dysfunctional. And once a municipality is dysfunctional, it cannot provide proper services to communities. So we need to look at what is a problem, move in, fix the problem. If the problem is the people that have been deployed in those responsibilities or hired in the municipality, let's deal with the problem. Let's not leave people who can't do the work to continue. We need to intervene decisively. Otherwise, we will not get these municipalities right if we keep looking the other way. So I do hope that as the NCOP, because provinces are and local government is where you play a very strong oversight. We need to look at this. In fact, I was thinking sitting there that restoring the dignity of our peoples through spatial planning and the provision of human settlement, water and sanitation is something that must guide us as we do oversight. So next year when we go out, maybe let's have an outreach program that is designed around that so that we can go and see for ourselves when we go out there and be able to intervene correctly. As I go towards concluding, I just wanted to say that although there were others criticizing, and I welcome criticism in most of the time, but I don't think we should ignore progress that has been made. Whilst we welcome criticism, EFF and MKP, let's not give an impression that nothing is happening in this country. We all know that millions of South Africans today have government-provided houses, millions. They have access to clean water in those properties. They have title deeds, and many of them, through these title deeds, have been able to improve their properties. So let's acknowledge that. But of course, let's agree that we are on a journey to bring about a better life to all our people. And this won't happen overnight. It's going to require patience, hard work, and fortitude. But I'm convinced that victory is certain. We will be able to achieve this. Once again, honorable members, I wish all of you a happy and safe festive season. Please don't drink and drive. Arrive alive. Next year is going to be a busy year. So many parties will be campaigning for local government elections. So go and rest, get some recharge, and return back healthy in 2026. Re a leboga. A khensa inkomo.
Thank you, Deputy President. Thank you, honourable members. If we can resume our seats. Honourable members, that concludes the debate on the annual address by the Deputy President of the country, and I'd like to thank the Deputy President for his address and for participating in the debate. I'd also like to thank all permanent delegates, premiers, speakers, the deputy speakers, chief whips, MECs, and all special delegates, and of course the SELGA representatives for availing themselves for the sitting. Honourable delegates, that concludes the business of the day. The House is adjourned, and we'll meet again on the 17th.
Long live, Chair.
That's to a payment plan. But in this case here,
Recording all stopped. Power to the people.
Honourable delegates, your attention, please. Honourable delegates, we have been informed. Attention. Honourable delegates, your attention. We have been informed that there will be a group photo taken at the steps. So could we all make our way down to the steps where we will have the group photo? I wonder whether everybody heard that there will be a group photograph taken with the Deputy President at the steps. So could we please gather there? Thank you. Please.